to go 2 for 2 at home, and he does.
He's flying.
And now he'll celebrate. And it's going to be Sandra Velzebor.
She is going to try to make it 3 for 3 on the World Tour. The exclamation mark in for the Canadian Ice Maples. And it will be the Ice Maples starting off with a gold medal.
The voice you just heard is two-time Olympic medalist from the United States, Catherine Reuter-Adamek, and we have got, as we say, a huge amount of racing to come over the next few days in that race for the Crystal Globe. Sandra Velzebor of the Dutch Lions, William Dongenou from the Canadian Ice Maples out the front in the respective men's and women's competitions, and the Ice Maples leading the team competition as well, Catherine. It seems about now with this, the fourth of 6 stops to go, that some of these other athletes are going to have to start eating into those leads of Velzebor and Dongenou.
That's right. Consistency is the name of the game right now. If Velzebor and Dongenou can continue to make A finals, they will be very challenging to catch by the end of the World Tour circuit. That being said, it's kind of common, not just in speed skating, but in all sports. There's this tendency when you're coming from behind to want to overperform, overdo it. That's actually not the key. The key is consistency, making those A finals, because that's where athletes are going to earn the most points.
The Canadian Ice Maples have been leading the team competition as well, squad depth. Every athlete is contributing to what their team does, but you would be expecting big things from the Korean White Tigers here this weekend.
Absolutely. All of the Asian countries are preparing for the Asian Games this upcoming February, so that everyone's having a little game to play about their peaking. They want to have a great showing here at home, and they want to save a little bit in the tank so that they can peak again in February, and then one more time for the World Championships in March.
Full slate of races in this morning's schedule. We'll start with the men's 1500 metre heats into the women's 500 preliminaries, followed by the men's 500 prelim, and then into the 1000 metre races as well. Athletes in this competition, huge schedule as well that they are backing up from last week in Beijing. It's a big load for them.
That's right. So this year on the World Tour circuit, this is a new racing format. This is more of a high performance format. In the past, the ISU has done more of a development format, focusing on quantity of races for all skaters. This year on the World Tour circuit, we're seeing more of a specialty for the top 3 of each country getting to race more and more rounds. But here's what that means is that when we get to the A final, you're seeing the best of the best. It's unlike anything we've seen before. Every single World Tour stop having the best of best in every final.
It's great to see the world's top athletes going, of course, all building up towards the Asian Games and the World Championships later, or early next year rather, as we lurch towards Christmas and the end of this part of the season, but still another 2 World Tour events to come in the new year as well. We're going to start our session with the men's 1500 metre heats, a big field of 8 heats to come. Coming up in this one, of course, none of the top 20 or so skaters in the opening heats. It's a seeded situation, and then they'll make their way through.
That's right, and out of 8 races, we have 6 fastest thirds, so we will see the pace really being pushed in some of these early rounds. That being said, if there are any penalties and advancements will knock out the fastest third time. So you might go out and have the best race of your life, and then the round after you, there's an advancement, and your time gets thrown out.
So the first and second placed athletes will advance to the next round, and then the others through to rapid charges as well. It's not just one skate and you're done, thankfully. It's lots of opportunities to make your way through these rounds, but more opportunities also means a bigger workload.
Absolutely, and that is the way that the ISU is continuing to tip their hat to the development side of the sport. Not only do we have these preliminary rounds today, where the top 20 are actually not here this morning. The top 20 from last week get a bye directly into the heat, so they do not have to skate the preliminaries. And then athletes who are here this morning in the preliminaries, just in case they don't move on to heats, they will get another chance to race in repechage on Saturday and Sunday morning.
Well, give us a sense, though, too. What have we gone? Just about 9 a.m. local time on a Friday morning. It's about -4 degrees outside and probably about the same inside. What sort of routine would these athletes have gone through very early this morning to be ready to hit the ice running effectively, hit the ice skating even?
Absolutely. Athletes have been here for 2 hours already, which is really saying something considering the host hotel is an hour away from the rink. Skaters have been up for a half day almost at this point, getting ready to race. We do have a wonderful warm-up tent for the athletes outside full of bikes, but I'll be honest with you, staying warm in these conditions is challenging. It's going to take even more energy this weekend than last weekend.
You can already see these skaters, just big coats, actually look like they're going back on, aren't they? Some of them just going to keep as warm as possible until those final moments, hands under arms.
Yeah, and you have to. And at this rink, even more than others, you may even see athletes stepping onto the ice, going to their coach and saying, "Hey, coach, can I borrow your coat?" Athletes can wear their warm-up equipment as long as the whistle has not been blown. Once the whistle is blown, athletes need to gear down and go directly to the line.
What do these cooler temperatures inside this rink, as you say, compared to last week in Beijing, which is one of the warmer rinks? What does that do for the racing, for the times, and all of those kind of things?
Well, we do see just the energy that it takes, again, going from an extremely hot rink where athletes are overheating and gearing down to no tops, like immediately after the race is over, to the opposite end of the spectrum where athletes are wearing not just warm-up jackets, but full winter parkas up until the very last second that they have to take those parkas off. So the energy management of your body temperature, it really is exhausting. And to think about, these athletes are warming up and cooling down multiple times in a day. Not only that, but just the volume of races and the short rest that we're seeing in between the rounds of races. All athletes, all coaches sharing with me throughout the last couple of weeks here that this is the hardest schedule they've ever had to race.
Sorting out the best from the best is our first group of athletes waiting introduction to the ice for these opening heats of the men's 1500 metres.
And we are seeing a little bit of a delay here. Not sure what's going on. Potentially something in the timing. We have an electronic timing system here at every ice rink, and you'll see athletes wearing little ankle bands. Those are called transponders. That's how we get the most up-to-date electronic time on every lap. If an athlete forgets their transponder, it is an automatic disqualification or penalty in this case. It counts as a did not start, even if they win the race.
Brutal.
I've seen athletes actually not make an Olympic team before because they forgot their transponder. It's heartbreaking to see.
Fans have come in early, absolutely love their short track here in Korea. Well, they love their skating in general. Just bear with us as we wait for this timing issue to be sorted.
And it's a great culture for the sport here in South Korea. Not only are the fans very supportive, but the development system here is on point. One of the strongest grassroots programs in the world, mainly because the volume of participants, you could easily see a pace line of skaters going all the way around the rink in a single training session.
We will see some of the Korean superstars later in the day, no less Park Ji-won, who's sitting second overall in the men's Crystal Globe standings. He's got a little bit of work to do, a bit of ground to make up to catch William Donjanu, who has been the dominant athlete so far, but Park did have a great outing last week in Beijing. Also, too, the Korean women, Choi Min-jong and Kim Ki-lee, just slipped down the rankings ever so slightly from Sandra Velsabor after last weekend's racing, but you kind of get the impression the Koreans, but as you say, you've got to balance out the season so much. You've got to figure out when you're going to hit your peak, and the Korean White Tigers team, this is it for them.
Absolutely, and you start to see the difference in the different training styles, whereas a Korean team training style is very much endurance. Lots of laps, lots of hours on the ice, on the bike, in the weight room, whereas a Canadian style training program is a little bit more based towards the sprinter, a little more based towards the power aspect of the sport. And And so it's just two sides of the same coin. Some athletes really thriving under that high endurance, high volume training block. Other athletes thriving under more of a sprint or power-based training block. And then you see the world-class coaching, because that's really it. It's not the cookie-cutter program that works for everyone. It's the coach who can tailor the program to the specific needs of the athlete while maintaining the overarching goal for the team.
Yeah, coaches are sought after commodities in this sport, absolutely. Still waiting to get this timing situation sorted, and for some of these guys, the second heat's down. It's a slightly longer wait than they would have anticipated, and a slightly colder one for the New Zealand Ice Skiers.
And yeah, and you can imagine it's not just the physical energy of the up and down, but the emotional energy of like, hey, they've been preparing. Like I said, they've been here for 2 hours already. They got on the bus 3 hours ago, which means they've been up early this morning, mentally and emotionally preparing for the pressure of these races. And now it's 9 o'clock, it's time to start, and they're getting the feedback of, hey, take a break.
And saying that, is saying Ivan Donchev from Bulgaria looks relatively relaxed about the situation early on, doesn't he?
And that's a sign of high experience. A novice skater would be jittering and just shaking in their boots right now, whereas someone with a little more experience knows, hey, I can only control what I can control, and I can control my breathing, my equipment, my apparel, my ability to stay warm, and that's a sign of an elite skater who can just stay focused on themselves.
Nothing they can do about this
That's
situation.
Right. That's right. Even coaches here trying to keep their own nerves under control as they prepare for the athletes to finally step on the ice.
When you were skating, as I say, back in your day,
back in the old days,
it wasn't even
right.
wasn't even that long ago. Did you like getting out early, or did you prefer a little later in the day to have that extra time?
Well, later in the day is always better, but even leading up to the race, my style was always I wanted to be in the heat box at the last possible moment, partly because, especially this rink, is so cold you really can't afford to be there any earlier than you have to, but also from a nerves perspective. I was never an athlete that liked to watch the other races. My philosophy was everyone else is going to race with or without me. All I can control is myself. But I will say the camaraderie of the sport has grown exponentially over the last 10 years. Last week in Beijing, even after some questionable passes, lots of skaters falling down together, we're seeing athletes go over and pick each other up, give each other high fives, even hug each other after races. Just yesterday, and I know I'm not competing, but just yesterday, one of my former strong competitors, we sat down next to each other on the bus. She could tell I was cold. She gave me her hand pack. And that's just something that 10 years ago would never have happened. You would have happily watched your competitors suffer and kept all your resources to yourself.
Brutal. We're looking at a start probably about 2 minutes away. Just a slight delay this morning to get some of the timing situations working. But yeah, 9:10 local time, which is about 2 minutes away here in round 4 of the Short Track World Tour in Seoul. We had 2 rounds in Montreal, 1 in Beijing, and there it is here, 9:09:10 local time, not far away. And it's such a unique element of the sport in that, as you say, your competitors, you're over the breakfast buffet first thing this morning. You share, everyone's having the same scrambled eggs. You're all staying in the same hotel. You all get on the same buses. You're in the training. It is a really intimate yet competitive environment.
It really is, and I think the other thing that's changed over the last decade or so is how many athletes train with other teams. Yeah. Montreal being a home-based training site for the Belgium team, as well as for Arianna Fontana from Italy. We'll see athletes today. One is from Australia who trains in Korea, an Irish athlete training in Korea. So that does go a long way to help the camaraderie of the sport. At the end of the day, they are all competitors, but they're also training mates. And I think there's a deeper level of respect between athletes when you understand the day in, day out grind. It's a grind, this sport. These athletes are training like full-time athletes. Their typical training day, at least in my day, was 8 to 10 was your morning block, and you'd get a break for lunch and then maybe a quick little nap, and then you'd be back for your afternoon training block from 2 to 6 p.m. and you'd do that 5 days a week with a long like 6 a.m. to noon type of training on Saturday. So these athletes are training as much as a full-time job, and they're doing it together.
Let's also factor in rehab, physio, all of those kind of things as well, your nutrition, your mental skills, as we finally get our first lot of athletes on to the ice here at the Mokdong Arena. And we're going to get racing underway in the men's 1500 metres. And now after a little bit of wait, let's get yourself a wee bit warm and ready to go again. Notice the racing suits of these athletes representing their new national identities. The Polish Hussars, the Gazelles of Singapore, Belgian Ice Bears, and here is our start list for the first round of racing. And Felix Pichon from Poland, he is the highest ranked skater in this field so far. Previously represented Canada at youth level, and now will be favoured, you would think, in this opening 1500 metre heat.
Pichon and Van Dam, I would say, are the two favorites going into this race. However, I do always like to watch the Turkish skaters, the Anatolian Pars. They've really made an investment in their programming and are seeing great success, not only in the 2022 Olympics, but on this World Tour season. Eroglu
from the Turkish Anatolian Pars, helmet number 140, our first lineup of racing. And we are underway in the men's 1500 metre heats, the first heat of many to come over the course of the next couple of days, and it is Pichon just leading them out early. And in this 1500 metres, we'll see a slower pace as the athletes get into their groove and build their speed.
Absolutely, and you do see the athletes in this race going for the fastest third time. This is typically a little faster than we see a 1500 start out, and the reason for that is because everyone wants that fastest third. Now, sometimes you'll see a really slow 1500 and the athletes are leaving it up to the final sprint. However, with Liu from China in the back, that means all these European skaters are thinking to themselves, well, I know the Chinese skater is going to have a good sprint in him at the finish, so I want to make sure that I'm pushing the pace here early. Maybe I'll get to wear the other skaters out, but maybe I'll just be able to hold on to that third and get the fastest third time.
Full cluster of all 7 skaters. Little move up the inside from Pichon in helmet 39, just tucking himself into second position as we tick down the laps in this opening heat of the 1500 metres, and the pace starts to come on at the front from Van Dam of the Belgian Ice Bears.
And second place for Pichon is exactly where you want to be. So to lead, Van Dam is leading right now, so he's taking a little more energy. Everyone else is sitting back in the draft. A great move up into second, but we're seeing some jostling in the pack.
Now a little jostle, and getting up to the front is Moon Won-jun, Hungarian athlete. Going to take a little bit of a gap starting to form. You at the back, and now moving all the way to the front, just as predicted. And now a little break up too on slipping off the pace, and a couple of athletes go down. Just 4 at the front now.
Pichon doing a great job moving from the back up into third. You can see him skating a little wide track. He's out towards the mats. That means he's carrying his speed, he's saving his energy, and you can bet he's setting up a pass.
Really disappointing for Eroglu, the Turkish Anatolian Par, who had the spill and has just picked themselves up, getting in. There is the ballot. And another one goes down as well. Liu and Pichon have kept themselves out of trouble early on here, and they will take the first 2 places. It is Liu from China, and then Pichon, followed by Van Dam of the Belgian Ice Bears. He'll be looking at a 3rd place time, but a couple of early spills in the opening heat.
And here's the problem, is that you want to be aggressive as an athlete. You want to protect your spot, but at the same time, if protecting your spot comes at the risk of falling, sometimes it's better just to cross the line with a good time rather than having those spills early on in the race. So we're seeing a nice pass from the outside here by the Singapore skater Rio. Really smooth skating from Liu, and everyone's got their hands on their back here, so that's a good indicator that they're saving some energy. And we're just seeing, maybe it's sitting a little too far back on his heels, getting a little twist in his shoulders from Moon. And we'll have to wait and see if that fastest third time by Van Dam will hold over the next 7 heats.
Couple of video reviews from that race. We did see a couple of early spills.
That's right. So the two little yellow dots that you're seeing in the bottom left corner of your screen, that means that the ISU officials are doing a video review. They may or may not make a call. So sometimes those yellow dots will turn green. That means the call has been cleared. However, if the referees decide to stick with the call, we'll throw down to the ice and hear their final statement. Not only do officials have access to video review on the ice, we actually have a room full of monitors so that officials can review the calls from every single angle. And that is one thing that we don't have the benefit of here in the media stand or even at home. We typically just get the one angle. And so when the officials can review a pass from 6 different angles, they get an even better idea of who made the move. And we'll talk as the day goes on here. Skaters can get disqualified or penalized from moving too far inside to outside. Same is true if a skater makes too abrupt of a change in direction from the outside to inside. You also see calls often in speed skating with pushing from behind. And it looks like now the officials are looking at a possible lane change from outside to in from the Turkish skater, yes, to the Singapore skater. So we'll see what they decide.
Well, it was the Turkish skater, Toprak Iroglu, who was the first to go down.
See, and there's no contact there. I don't personally see. Possibly they're going to advance Hungary because he was in a qualifying position.
Wonders of technology. Officials able to look at every acute angle, wind it back, go again.
That's right, and something that ISU, a way they've really been adapting and evolving over the years is to get more clear in the language of what do we call, it used to just be impeding and cross-tracking, and you could really, there was so much room for interpretation in that, and now it's outside to in, it's inside to out, it's coming from behind. Other calls you'll see this weekend is what's called an arm block. And we are seeing a possible contact from behind. They're reviewing if Pijon actually made some contact on Hungary, which would lead to a Hungarian advancement. Here's that video room we were talking about, so all the different angles that the officials can see from. And when you do see that yellow dot go to green in the middle of a race, that means someone in the back there has already reviewed the move, even while the race is still happening, and communicated back to the officials on the ice saying, all clear.
Tough for the athletes who are waiting to go in the second heat. Already had a delay. They've gone out on the ice, but the big jackets have already gone back on as we await this official review from the opening heat in the men's 1,500 metres. It was...
So we are seeing, what my opinion on that was that the Turkish skater was just being a little bit aggressive, and it's not always necessary. Maybe there's a better angle for that pass there just to see how close the Polish skater was, the Polish Hussar was to the Hungarian.
Gloves are off. Might be time for an official review.
That's
Here
right.
we go. Might get the outcome momentarily.
After review, we gave a penalty to skater number 140 from Turkey, and a penalty for skater number 39 from Poland, and advancement for skater number 122, Hungary.
So that will take away one of the fastest third times. Now only 5 fastest third times moving on to the next round.
So the penalty goes against Felix Pijon and Toprak Iroglu from Turkey, Turkish.
The Anatolian Pars. That's right. And so here we're seeing the official call in the straight lane change. And sometimes it's just a matter of I'll speak honestly, nobody out there is trying to do anything penalty worthy. They're oftentimes just trying to protect their track, especially from a developing country like the Turkish Anatolian Pars. They're working to get the very best ranking that they can. Again, not always worth the risk if there's a fall or a penalty, but valuable race experience.
Second men's heat of the 1500, Dan Kos of the Netherlands, Josh Carr from New Zealand, Brandon Kim of the United States, St. Gruev of Bulgaria, the Ukrainian Yaroslav Morozov, Mark Chismadia from Hungary, and the Brazilian Lucas Henry Koo. Longer than usual wait for these athletes to get underway in the second heat of the men's 1500 metres, easing their way out early, and it is the Dutch Lion, Dan Kos, who will lead them out early.
And again, we're seeing a little quicker start than we normally do in the 1500, so I like to see that. It could be actually because the ice rink is so cold, the athletes want to get going, to get their heart rates up, to increase their body temperature. But my eyes are on Brandon Kim of the USA Eagles here in this race. Brandon Kim's actually a Stanford student, and he's been having finals week. He's been even on the bus this morning, logging into his schoolwork online to finish assignments before going on holiday break.
That is impressive from Brandon Kim from the USA, sitting in sixth place at the moment. There's a few little moves start to come on, and the field splinters and the tactics and the jostling goes. It's Morozov, the Ukrainian, out the front at the moment. Ukrainian Wildcats.
Leading the way, that's right. And Dan Kos, the Dutch Lion, doing a really smart tactic here, leaving a little space between him and first place. That allows him to keep his own timing and to move smoothly by as he makes his pass.
Lucas Henry Koo too from Brazil now, just up into, as one goes down as well. In the back of the rink, as I say, Lucas Henry Koo, the South American, the first South American to ever compete at the Youth Olympic Games. He's just sitting nicely tucked in at the moment. It was the Ukrainian, unfortunately, Yaroslav Morozov, who's gone down, which leaves us with 6 in this field for now.
And the skaters are starting to line up a little bit. That means that Dan Kos is keeping good pace. Now watch how Brandon Kim's building on the outside. You can expect a pass.
Kim starting to make a couple of moves up the outside, again wide on that track, but he's moved himself up to third and then trying to get up into second as well. Found a nice little gap in between the Brazilian as well. And so now it is still Dan Kos of the Dutch Lions with a comfortable lead out the front and a little break. Kos and Kim, the USA Eagle, in 1 and 2 as they get the bell in the second heat of the men's 1500. Easing up at the line. A couple of other crashes at the back. They've all spun out. And that leaves Dan Kos, the Dutch Lion, taking out first. Brandon Kim, the USA Eagle, is in second. And Lucas Henry Koo from Brazil in third place. He will have an eye on the clock to see how he progresses.
A chaotic fight for that fastest third, and the race was fast, so you can anticipate some real fatigue setting in here. Ukrainian Wildcat moving around the outside, but he's unable to hold it. Now right here, just a little jostling, a little uneven on his skates. We see those yellow dots. I don't know if that will become a call. Dan Kos making it look easy as he comes around Brandon Kim, and we see that fighting for position, for third position. Lucas Koo coming across in third place, an American-born skater. His dad is from Brazil, his mom is from Korea. He actually trains on the East Coast in the United States and competes for Brazil.
Yeah, that is a citizen of the world, Dan Kos. Yeah, just giving us the shivery cold, but getting the job done. It is the Dutch Lion to start out their campaign. We will be seeing a lot of the Dutch Lions over the course of this weekend for sure.
We really will. Not only is André Velsboer our leader in the Crystal Gold standing, but a strong team. And Dutch Lions typically known for their long track speed skating, but their short track has really grown up over the last several Olympic cycles, starting with Shinky Connect. Gosh, way back in 2014, starting to make a splash and helping grow the program into 18 and 2022. And now we're seeing such depth out of the Dutch Lions. Now, let's watch some replays here. The Bulgarian King coming around the outside. Now, I don't know. It's looked like a possible arm block here. actually on Bulgaria to Ukraine, it's hard to say because you do need to set your hand down onto the ice in what's called a pivot, and yet it is the passing skater's job not to impede. So if setting that hand down creates an arm block, which is what we're seeing here, he has opened himself up for the risk of a penalty. And this can often be the worst part, just waiting to hear what the officials have decided.
Quick decision made by the look of it on this one. It was Daan Kos, the Netherlands, the Dutch Lions, and Brandon Kim safely out in the top two as well. So it's just a couple of these other athletes now looking, waiting confirmation too of what those times may be as we get another look at what the officials are checking out.
So the Bulgarian king here, Gurov, setting his hands down, not quite, just kind of reaching for it, but it's just enough to pitch the Ukrainian Morozov up onto his toes. Now, the ice here is brittle and it's fast. That's something that's unique about Korean ice, is that you can expect the lap times to be fast, but the ice is not trustworthy, especially between blocks 3 and 5. There are 7 blocks that go around each turn, the 4th block being called the apex block, and that's where athletes are typically at their least stable. Not only are they at top speed at that point on the track, but smart skating is to be on 1 foot on the apex block. So you're holding all that pressure on one leg, be up to 500 pounds at top speed.
Let's check in for the official review.
After review, we gave a penalty to skater number 111 from Bulgaria and skater number 87 from New Zealand.
And Josh Carr from the New Zealand Ice Skiers, one of the 2 penalised athletes there. Hasan Gurov of Bulgaria, the Bulgarian Kings, the 2 penalised athletes, and a no time, unfortunately, for Yaroslav Morozov.
So the official call being a lane change from inside to outside on the New Zealand Ice Kia. So we're seeing that arm block here. Again, it's challenging because that is a normal part in the track to reach for the ice, but you can't do it as the passing skater. And here we're seeing a lane change from inside to out, cutting across the ice, creating contact here on the entry, which opens the door wide open for Lucas Koo.
Well, I can confirm with prior knowledge that a Kia native to the South Island of New Zealand is well known for being an incredibly naughty bird. It is known as being very cheeky. You don't leave your lunch around a Kia. You also got to watch out for your windscreen wipers on your car. They love getting you rubber. So unfortunately for Josh Carr, has lived up to the Kia naughty nickname.
Oh my, I'm learning so much.
Trust me, Kia is a whole thing. Right, heat number 3 in the men's 1,500 metres. And I tell you what, we show the diversity and range of this sport. Hong Kong, China, Austria, Great Britain, Germany, Kazakhstan, Thailand and Mongolia. Athletes in this 3rd heat in the men's 1,500 metres. Out they go early and then easing into that bunch, and slightly slower start than what we've seen in those first 2 heats. A little bit more cagey early on.
And that's often a sign of what type of athletes have gotten mixed together in a race. And if you have a race of mostly sprinters, there's a tendency to keep the pace slower. But here we have the Mongolian skater coming up to the front, Erdenbeleg.
Taking an early lead out this group of skaters, just sitting tucked in behind as well.
Not a lot of movement yet. However, keep your eyes on that ice Kia. Like my coworker says here, he's feeling cheeky. Every time you see a little space in between skaters, that means they're ready for a pass or a defensive move.
Erdenbeleg from Mongolia out early, but at the moment now it is the German Wolf Johannes Hammermuller who's going to start and just start to stretch the pace a little in this 3rd heat in the men's 1,500, stringing out the field a little. Tucked in behind as well is the Thai Elephant Chiang Mai. He's sitting in 2nd, little move or squeezing into a gap was the British skater Theo Collins in helmet number 94, tucked himself into 3rd position with a nice little inside move. It's still Hammermuller, the German out the front.
And I think what Hammermuller is doing here is saying, I really don't want to get caught up in any chaos. Even if it takes more energy, I want to lead this race. That being said, we are coming around on 5 laps to go, so the pace needs to start picking up.
We've seen some early crashes already. Does that make the rest of the field jittery as well, even if you're in other heats, as it now starts to really tighten up?
Absolutely. Everyone wants to finish this race on their feet. So oh, wow. So we see a big move from the Austrian skater Andermann up into second, but causing a little contact. So 1 dot there on your screen.
Yeah, Hammermuller completely lost speed, and he's got well down the field, having led them out early too. So now 4 skaters at that front, really pushing the pace, and a big gap too as they take the bell in this 1500 meter heat. 4 skaters vying for top 2 position at the moment, and it's an easy finish in the end for Andermann, the Austrian skater, with Evchenko sitting in behind from the Kazakh Nomads. But certainly Jonas Hammermuller was right in the thick of things, and then completely lost his speed somewhere late in that race.
And that is the risk of leading so much, because leading takes about 10% more energy than following. And then if you add a little bump into that mix right there, that's 30, 40, 50% energy loss. He doesn't even get to take crossovers out of the corner. We'll have to wait and see the official review.
So as Nico Andermann from Austria, taking out that first place. Gleb Evchenko, the Kazakh Nomad, was in second, and then looking for the best third place finish, Theo Collins from the Great Britain Royals will have eyes on the clock. And as we see that yellow dot, still something being reviewed, checking the officials.
Skaters coming off the ice, and again, what can be one of the most uncomfortable feelings is, hey, now the outcome of the race is out of my hands. I have to wait for the official review to decide.
There's confirmation of those 2 queues qualifying, advancing to first 2 skaters advancing through to the quarterfinals, and then a maximum of 6 third fastest skaters across the 8 heats. Moving on quickly into heat number 4 of the men's 1500.
Another strong showing here. My eyes are going to be on Ben Jung in this race. He, as well as Michael Nowitzki, and let's not forget about Hayashi. Those are the 3 to beat. Hopefully, maybe not hopefully, maybe just potentially, they work together to try to push this pace and help one another get that fastest third time.
Officials getting them lined into position for these 7 skaters. The men's 1500 meters. Jagal, the Indian skater, just tucked in the back there, tall figure. As heat 4 of the men's 1500 meters gets underway here on day 1 of the Short Track World Tour event in Seoul.
And we are seeing again that quick speed off the line. Again, this is not typical, and I do have to wonder about the temperature of the rink, if it is just best to get out there and get your core temperature heated up. One thing I am appreciating here from Nowitzki is he's already skating a defensive track pattern. So you'll see as he enters the corner how he's a few feet off of the blocks. He doesn't start to hug the blocks until block number 5. That's called a deep track. It's good for 2 reasons. It's hard to pass a deep track, but it's also relatively easy to carry your speed on a deep track. Some defensive maneuvers, like a tight track, are very, very challenging on the legs. A deep track allows a little less pressure on the thighs, even while skating in a good position.
Well, comes in good form too, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Nowitzki, the Polish skater, after a strong performance in Beijing last week, and he is leading them out through the first handful of laps here of this 1500 meter, the Polish Hussar, and setting the pace and the tempo
We're seeing the German Wolves and the Japanese Ninjas starting to step out here, so anticipate a pass. Anytime you see one skater going much wider than the others, that means they're thinking about building speed. Here is the power move coming from Jung.
It is still Nowitzki out the front, and then looking to get around the outside is the German Wolf, Jung. And picking up a couple of positions, again going wide and easing himself into second spot. Well executed passing maneuver across that lap. And now it is the two of the favourites in this heat, Nowitzki and Jung, leading out the front as the field starts to stretch a little.
And we're seeing the Japanese Ninja Hayashi starting to build speed now. He's got plenty of time to keep building and tuck up into third, maybe even overcoming Jung and moving into second.
There he goes, into second place, the number 44, the Japanese Ninja Hayashi. As it's an easy lead out at the moment for Nowitzki. He is safe and sound in position number 1. And it was a great late move from Hayashi, the Japanese Ninja, to get himself into second spot. Puck will have to wait, or Jung rather will have to wait for the times as the best third place skater, hopefully to be one of them, but it was an impressive performance from the Polish Hussar in this heat.
So we'll see a replay of the start. Nowitzki going straight to the front saying, hey, I don't want to get caught up in any drama. I just want to lead this race. Great strategy by the Singapore skater, staying in second as best he can. And then a little bit of a bobble there from the Thai elephant, staying on his feet, but scrubbing lots of speed. Nowitzki making it look easy as he crosses the line. His training really showing up here.
Well, as I said, he's an athlete in good form after a strong weekend in Beijing last weekend. Nowitzki, and he comfortably takes out that heat and moves on to the next round through to a quarter-final in the men's 1500 metres. Heat for the cleanest we've seen so far as the athletes line up now for heat number 5 in the men's 1500. 6 athletes, 6 skaters in this race. Another of the Polish Hussars, Nathan Tomas at the front.
Go to the start.
Grady from Hungary, India from Germany, Bergen, Ukraine, Martinic, Croatia, and Maximov, Bulgaria. This 1500, the tactical game, the strategy involved in a 1500, much more so, and particularly shorter events as well, as it's Maximov of Bulgaria, out first, the Bulgarian Kings.
And we are seeing a little slower start here, which again is indicative of having mostly sprinters in the field. It can be smart if you're the lone endurance skater to go out and push the pace, but there's always a risk in that, because if you waste too much energy early on, it opens the door to be overtaken in the final few laps.
Still Maximov with the Bulgarian Kings, just easing out the front, Hungarian tucked in behind as well. Nokrari in helmet 123.
Keeping a smooth pace here. However, keep your eyes on the German Wolf Bendig as well as Ukrainian Wildcat Bergen. I do anticipate a move coming soon, and here we go.
First little bits of moves made in this very cagey 1500 metre heat, and the pace just starting to pick up as well. It is the Hungarian on the front at the moment, Nogradi. Some moves starting to be made around the outside by the German Wolf, Robin Bendig. Oh, a little trip, a little stumble, but the Bulgarian somehow keeps upright
that will be questionable. Technically, that is called an off track. If you're pushed off the track, it's not a call, but you cannot achieve a benefit from it. Now, the Bulgarian Ice King has moved to the back and just isn't able to keep pace, but it might be too challenging to recover from that.
The Hungarian Falcon out the front at the moment. And still, this pace starts to really pick up. Yeah, the coaches keeping time, yelling in the background as well as we stretch this race. The Polish Hussar of Nathan Thomas sitting into second place, and now the bell lap for these athletes in the 1500 metre heat. It is still out the front. The Hungarian from the Polish Hussar, and then pushing to get that third place spot, the German Wolf, Robin Bendig. And it's a nice job done in the front of the pack. Nogrady from Hungary, excuse me, and Thomas from Poland.
So let's watch some reviews here. Again, not a blistering start. However, Bulgarian King Maximov saying, hey, I want to lead this one out. I want to set the pace here. Bendig coming in saying my turn, and there's where we see we'll have to, it could be a potential advancement. There's another big bump there, and there's a bit of a new philosophy coming from the ISU saying, hey, you know what, this has a tendency to be a contact sport. Let's let the other skaters skate it out just so long as it doesn't change the final outcome of the race.
He certainly did have a look back, didn't he, the Bulgarian King Maxim Maximov, and checking, and there's still a little shake of the head, wondering what went on there, frustrated.
And there's really nothing you can do when you're knocked off the track like that in a perfect, and they have made it an official result, so they will not make a call, even though there was, clearly some trouble there.
And that might be why the shake of the head, perhaps, but it is Nogrady from the Hungarian, the Kings, and the Polish Hussar taking second spot. Here's Thomas as we move into Heat 6 of the men's 1500 metres. And for the first time today, we see one of the Korean skaters, Lee Jung-suk, first of the locals to get on the ice. There he is, 1:28 in this Heat 6.
Go to the start.
A tall figure too in the red suit of the Norwegian Viking, Fredrik Pedersen, but localised certainly on the Korean white target. Lee Jung-suk just tucked himself into fourth position early, as it is the Italian Antonioli leading out from Liam O'Brien, one of two Irish skaters here this weekend, Irish men.
And Lee Jung-soo, actually a world champion in this event. However, throughout the course of his career, he's spending less and less time in the individual races and more time contributing to the White Tigers relay team. I am surprised to see him up in the middle of the pack, but again, with all of the jostling for position this weekend, the closer you can be to the front, the safer you are.
The Italian gladiator, Antonioli, sitting in the front from the Irish Wolfhound, Liam O'Brien, citizens of Latvia, in the third place at the moment as these athletes click through the phases, build their way into the races. The pace starts to pick up. The control at the moment, though, on the front from the Italian.
And the Latvian star Berzins, he will likely move in front. Here he's moving up to second and getting a little fight back from the Irish skater.
It's unlike the Irish to fight back. Yes, O'Brien just still sits comfortably, and now a little move around the outside comes from Lee. Onto the front now does the local hero, close quarters in with Antonioli, the Italian. As the Irish athlete just starts to scoot back, and another move coming around the outside, this time again from the Latvian Golden Star Berzins.
Now, Lee Jung-soo doing a good job here, giving a little space between he and Bernice. Again, remember, that means he can close the gap quickly if he wants to set up a pass. He can also defend the Italian skater from behind.
Italian just about dropping off the back a little gap opening up, but now closing again. It is still the Latvian on the head of the field as they get the bell, but look for Lee Jung-soo sitting there in second position, the Korean White Tiger, one of the favourites in this heat for sure. As he says, focusing more on the relays, but gets a comfortable second place finish in this one. It is Bears the Latvian Gold Star who takes it from Lee Jung-soo, Korean White Tiger, and Antonioli, the Italian Gladiator, will have to keep an eye on the clock, keep an eye on the other times as one of the best third place finishes.
Going into our replays. A beautiful smooth move by Lee Jung-soo up into fourth. Keeping arms on his back around the turn, and you see a little bit of what's called two-footing here. That's when there's 2 feet on the ice around the apex block, a sign that the ice is starting to get a little worn out. Strong finish by our top 3 skaters. We'll wait to see the official result as well as the official timing of the fastest third.
So there are the official times for Heat 6. As I said, he's the Latvian Gold Star, Lee Jung-soo from the Korean White Tigers, and then Antonioli from Italy, hoping to qualify through to the quarterfinals on his time as we now move through to the penultimate heat in the 1500 metres of the opening day of action here on the Short Track World Tour in Seoul. Round 4 of 6 in the race for the Crystal Globe. Straight away settling into their work. There's the Ukrainian Kokoleto.
And a smooth move to the outside from Luxembourg, Peter Murphy. Now this is not a strong team yet. They are still developing. Great to see him out front, getting some experience at this level.
Second of the Irish skaters also in this field too, Sean McAnuff, Belgian as well. But at the moment it is Murphy from Luxembourg in the front, missed in 2022 after having back surgery. Now finding, and he's, everyone says, building this new team and program.
And I'm surprised to see the pace staying slow like this. We're at the low 11s, high 10s. This is not a high-speed event, so we are seeing the Belgian ice bear Noran start to build a little speed on the outside, looking here for a pass.
At the moment, the Czechian ice spider too, sitting in second position to it. Still a Luxembourg skater, and now a little move from the ice spider from Czechia.
Really great timing. Sepal hearing the moving coming from farther back in the pack. Good reaction. Ice Bear Noan and Atolian Atar moving up to second now. Great positioning.
It is still the Czechia ice spider leading out the front. This pack field compact and tight at the moment. Belgian ice bear just sitting on the back of the group now.
Pace picking up quickly here, high 9s. We're coming around with 2 laps to go. Atar building speed on the outside. I'm surprised. Wow, and he completes the pass easily.
On the outside is the Turkish athlete who takes that spot in the front. The Turkish Anatolian Atan leading out in this bell lap and will take the heat. Has time to have a little look back, ease up. Well executed 1,500 metres from the Turkish Anatolian Par.
Beautiful skating, and the Anatolian Par is really investing in their development program, bringing in new coaches, investing in a new padding system for their rink in Erzurum, and seeing the results not only in the 2022 Olympic Games, first Turkish athlete Furkan Akar ever to compete for Turkey in short track, but now bringing his teammates along with him. Moving now to the replays, a smooth move by the Ice Spider up into second. Perfect timing as you see the pack start to bunch up behind him. Atar making a power move in less than a half a lap up to the front, easily maintaining his lead, checking around his shoulder, coming around with confidence to the final turn.
Easing up at the end, it is Metehan Atan, Turkish Anatolian Paz. Czechia Ice Spider Sepal in second, and then looking at a third fastest time from Luxembourg is Peter Murphy. As we now head to the final heat of the men's 1500s, heat 8 of 8. Another field of 6 athletes in this field. Zhu from China, Tobias Wolf of Austria, Lucas Wareham from the Australian Racing Roos, the Norwegian Plufstian, Kazakhstan Nassin, and then Great Britain Royal Jonathan Moody.
Go for the start.
As they come away in this final heat of the men's 1500. Top 2 qualify for the quarterfinals. Best 6 of the best third place skaters across these heats will also secure a place, and it is the Australian Racing Roo, Lucas Wareham, who leads them out at the moment from the Austrian skater.
And there's a great benefit to being the last race of the day. Even though the ice conditions are probably the worst that they've been so far in the day, you know what every other racer, what time they've done. So skaters actually now pulling back a little bit off the pace, maybe not going for that fastest third.
The benefit, the benefit of being this final heat is that they do know, right? They know every other time that's been. And how much information will these skaters be getting from the side about their time, if any?
Well, typically they're not hearing lap times from coaches, but they are getting signs from coaches. So coaches holding their palm up towards the athletes as a sign to slow down, or rotating their finger around in a circle is the typical universal sign for, hey guys, pick it up.
It's still the Racing Roo, Lucas Wareham in the front, and now just a little move into that first position, just took a nice inside the Norwegian Viking Huvesting.
Plutstuen looking really comfortable up front and responding well to pressure. So that's oftentimes the hardest thing, is when you're in the front, manipulating your speed based on the skaters behind you. It's easy up there to just kind of tune out and start skating, but when you're staying in touch with the pack and continuing to manipulate your speed, that's good racing.
Kazakh Nomad Nassim just has a little look to his left as a move comes again back on that inside shoulder by the Norwegian Viking Huvesting. It is still.
And here we're seeing the move from Zhu on the outside, 2 hands on his back, and now the arm's coming down. So typically an arm swing is indicative of a little more speed, a little more effort. Also helps with balance and rhythm as skaters go around the track.
And there is that effort that gets them to the front of the pack. Zhu Yiding of China as they get the bell for this last lap. The heat starting to come on, the pace picking up, or 2 go down. The Australian being one of them, but it's Zhu who's safely at the front with Plufsten, the Norwegian, who will take second spot. And then the Great Britain Royal, it was Josh Moody into third position, but a crash late on that lap. Wareham, the Austrian skater, might have gone with him, Tobias Wolf.
And it's always a heartbreak, especially here in this instance for Tobias Wolf. If you're not in one of those top 2 positions, you're not eligible for advancement, and that can be very tough because all these skaters looking for their highest rank opportunity. Just because you weren't in top 2 doesn't mean you're not trying to be top 20, top 30 in the event, and a fall can really eliminate you from those standings. Zhu making it look easy as Klufsten, and here's the fall going into the turn. Zhu making it look easy, coming around.
Now, the Chinese Longs had such a great weekend on home ice in Beijing last week and looking to continue that form here. They dominated the relays in particular. Such a strong team, the Chinese Long, and of course, easy distance to come away as well. A nice couple of weeks at home, but we do have an official video review of that incident.
And there's a little bit of a rivalry between the Chinese Longs and the Korean White Tigers. So even though we are here on Korean White Tiger home ice, the Chinese Longs still wanting to disrupt those results for the White Tigers. So here we're seeing the contact going into the corner.
Ooh.
Two skaters go down, still waiting for the official review. Down to the ice.
After review, we give a penalty to skater number 106 from Australia.
Yeah, the Australian Lucas Wareham, he was the one who came across, took out the Austrian at the same time, Tobias Wolff, and I think he knew it too.
And again, unfortunate because there's no advancement there, even though he was very much in potentially in fastest third position. No advancement for Wolff. Penalty for Wareham.
So that wraps up the men's 1500 metre heats. Confirmation there of the top two. Zhu Yiding of China and Mika Kluvstuen from the Norwegian Vikings. No best third place for Jonathan Moody as well. Those two at the top will advance through to the quarterfinals of the men's 1500 metres. Those quarterfinals to come early this afternoon here in Seoul.
And here we'll see the official review. So inside skater, failure to give way. Now, Wareham is even, but that's not good enough. He has to get by. Hips past shoulders. Any contact caused by the passing skater is trouble. They are expected to back off and give way.
So there it is, confirmation of our quarterfinalists in the men's 1500 after those first rounder heats. The top two from each heat has advanced through. That's all these athletes here now ranked by their time, and it was Liu Guanyi from China with the fastest in those 1500 metre heats, ticking through the rest, as I say, top two from each safely through. And now we look to see the best third place, the small Q qualifiers advancing on their time as opposed to their finishing position in their race. And here they are now, and an advancement for Won Jin Moon, as we thought earlier in the day. Peter Murphy of Luxembourg, the Brazilian skater, through as well. Good Theo Collins, Jung of Germany, and Donchev, the Bulgarian, advancing through based on their time as a third fastest finisher in the men's 1500 metre heats. The first session of racing done here on day one on the World Tour event. Racing continuing on shortly will be women's 1500 metres. While we have an ice break, do stay with us and come back a little later for the women's preliminary 1500 metres.
더 퍼스트와의 인연은 특별했습니다. 다양한 분야의 금융 전문가들이 가장 좋은 플랜을 늘 제시해 주었죠. 자산관리, 전 KB 골드앤와이스 더 퍼스트를 추천합니다. 당신의 내일을 위로, 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 위로.
당신이 위로 라이즈 할 수 있도록 라이즈 ETF. 그것은 새로운 간장치킨? 맛소, 맵소? 맵소? 맵소 되게 맛있어. 와우, 맵소비 매콤 달콤 짭조름 가치킨의 위대한 탄생 BBQ 맵소디. 맛있어? 그 손 치우시고.
깨비증권 많이 컸다. 모두의 행복 커져 뚝딱. 깨비증권 KB증권.
KB페이 다 되는 페이인 거 알죠? 쇼핑도 되나요? 되죠.
항공호텔도
되잖아. 몇 천 원이 되잖아.
롤드서킷
되지. 저도요? 된대요. 돼. 결제해서 사이트까지 됩니다. 다 되는 페이. KB페이.
남자 1500m 예선 경기에서 불가리아 이반 돈체프, 브라질 루카스 헬리프, 영국 슈폴리스, 독일 드린 양원정, 룩셈부르크 피터 머피 선수는 기록으로 다음 라운드에 진출하겠습니다.
5 fastest skaters qualify for quarterfinals.
나의 금융
The
플랜을
champion
맞춰
from
좋은
Bulgaria,
차를 바로 찾으니까.
Lucas Henry from
여행이
Brazil,
나서 여유 있는
Colin Seal from
KB 차차차.
England, Jong Yang-hun Ben from Germany, Murphy Peter from Luxembourg.
어떤 파랑이든 있는 그대로 파랑하자. 아시죠? 만기 오면 연하의 KB 다이렉트. 다이렉트 보험도 결국 금융이니까. KB 손해보험 다이렉트. 이것은 1000만을 넘어 2000만의 금융 흥행자. KB 스타뱅킹. 대한민국 모두의 금융 흥행작이 될 때까지.
We continue on with day one of the Short Track World Tour, round 4 in the race for the Crystal Globe here in Seoul at the Mokdong Arena. And we are into the action of the women's 500 metres, fast and furious in these upcoming heats. 6 there are. First, second and third will go through, excuse me, these are the preliminaries. First, second and third will go through to the heats as we get underway with our first 5 competitors. And as I say, fast and furious and out of the blocks, and it is the Croatian Dalmatian Valentina Asic who will lead them out.
The 500 is the most chaotic of all the races. They're going to take a lap or a lap and a half to build up to top speed. Eyes here on Malashuska, who will move up into first right here on the inside. And from here, you can expect her to take off. She's an incredible sprinter. Everyone looking for the fastest time possible. That's how lane position is determined in the upcoming rounds.
As I say, first, second, and third will go through to the heats, and then the maximum of just the 2 fastest 4th place skaters. And there is a gap in the field already. It is Milashevska up the front with Asic, the Croatian ice spider, as well. They'll take the top 2 positions through, and then it's Watanabe of Japan, Dubrova from Ukraine in 4th position, looking to be one of those 4th fastest skaters.
And remember, if you're watching at home, that advancements do knock out fastest 4th time, so it's best to go through in the top 3. Now let's check out this replay. Again, beautiful move up the inside by Malashevska. No contact, no question, no yellow dots in your screen. That's clean racing. Now watch the ninja coming up here on the inside. She just sneaks in perfectly. and maintains that third position. Coming around the final turn, we'll have to wait and see if Dubrova, the Ukrainian Wildcat, can snag one of those fastest fourth times with a 45.545.
Love that from Oi Watanabe, living up to the Japanese ninja name, sneaking in. They love their name, their team identity, the Japanese team, and absolutely perfect does that. So Malashevska from the Polish Hussars in taking that top spot straight off from the Croatian Dalmatian Asic and then the Japanese ninja Watanabe. These racers will rip through really quickly in the 500 metres. Annabelle Green from the British Royals, Mirei Nakashima, another of the Japanese ninjas, Tineke Dendulk from the Belgian Ice Bears, Jatasong from the Thai Elephant, and the Singaporean Gazelle Sapok. Quickly away do they go, and it is the British skater Annabelle Green out the front early from Dendulk, the Belgian Ice Bear. Annabelle Green from a family of skaters, parents both Olympians, one for Great Britain, one for Canada, and showing really strong early form with a nice little advantage as the moves start to come behind her.
Nakashima trying to set up that pass, but not getting by. What she needs to do here is put some extra crossovers into her corner entry so that she can carry the speed on the exit. I don't know if she's got time.
They've got the bell as the first three skaters will go through to the heats of this round. They need a fourth fastest time. Oh, the little intake of breath as it's tight at the back. Ooh, it is Green, the British Royal, from Nakashima, the Japanese, who did get in there, and then Dendulk, the Belgian Ice Bear. Chatasong from Thailand, the Thai Elephant, will await to see if she's a fourth fastest finisher.
And I would say that Dendulk really made some room there for Nakashima. She did not have to do that. However, this early on in the heats, in the rounds, it is actually better to let some of those late passes go, because you'd rather get by maybe in a third rather than a second over getting taken out and not getting advanced to the next round. Annabelle Green keeping her weight back in the center of her blade here. That's great technique. Now you'll often see, especially on this ice, skaters get pitched forward onto their toes. That's no good. A sneaky move there by the Japanese ninja Nakashima. Again, Dendulk being nice, giving her some space, which is the right thing to do, especially in these early rounds.
Well, if you know you're comfortably in that third position as well, no point doing anything too risky. And it is Annabelle Green from the Great Britain Royals, say from a family of skaters, a family of Olympians, and a really nice tidy performance from her to start in these 500 metre preliminaries. Just 4 skaters in this one, the third of our preliminaries in the 500. Mariana Segal, famed Italian skating family, famed from the Chinese Longs Lam, from the Ice Chilans of Hong Kong, and the New Zealand Ice Kias as they get away. And it is going to be the Chinese skater Kishin Fan out the front early.
Fan showing us the sprinter that she is. She is the veteran on the Chinese Longs team. She makes it look easy out front, and watching them in training yesterday, this team more than every other team looks comfortable on this ice.
Mariana Segal, the Italian, sitting in second. It's the New Zealander Mead off the back at the moment, who needs a bit of work to do to try and catch on the tail of this group, and she wants to get one of those fourth fastest finishers position. Top 3 will go through to the quarterfinals, and at the moment it is a clear 3 of Fan, Segal and Lam through to the heats, I should say, from this preliminary skate. Job done easily from the Chinese Long Fan at the top.
Leaders looking like they posted a fast time in the 44s. We'll wait for that unofficial fourth time to see if it is in the fastest fourths. And looking at the replay here, great start from Fan, moving from second on the line up into first. And as they come around the turn, again, that fourth block is called the apex block. Watch how they compress down into the ice. Here, their bodies get smaller. They turn into a tight little ball, and that's how they can change direction so quickly. Because think about this, not only are they going 55 kilometers an hour, but they're doing 180-degree hairpin turns twice a lap, putting all that pressure just on the right leg, coming around every single corner. A good dive for the line. Again, going for those fastest times, even if they're safe in top 3, because that's how lane position is determined in the next race.
confirmation of that result in the third of the preliminaries as we move through to the fourth of the preliminaries. First, second and third skaters from each race will advance through. Only a maximum of 2 fastest fourth place finishes in these 500 metre fields. So it's pretty cutthroat in these short groups. Here's away comes Soroka, Ukraine, Buric of Croatia, Kazakh Nomad Kumarkin, and Kim from Australian Racing Ruse out the back at the moment.
And the pack really has split up a little bit on this first lap. My eyes are on Hyojo Kim. I know she'll close that gap. I don't know if she'll have time to pass up into qualifying position.
It is Soroka from the Ukrainian Wildcats at the moment. A really tight tussle at the back too. Kim from Australian Racing Ruse has got herself up into third position, passing the Croatian Dalmatian Buric. Tight finish for these 4 skaters. It is Yelzaveta Soroka from the Ukraine Wildcats who take it out.
Unofficially, Buric's time will not be fast enough for the 4th place. However, we have not seen the official time yet, and that there does usually adjust, the official time clock does usually adjust the finishing time by a couple tenths of a second. Now again, Hyojin Kim closing that gap. She may not be strong off the start, but she's strong off the finish. She barely squeaks by here. And again, maybe getting a little lucky there. The Croatian Dalmatian not leaning in, not risking an arm block, saying instead, hey, I'd rather go to repechage round tomorrow if I have to than risk a penalty here in my first race.
Yeah, that's it, of course. If you don't make that 4th fastest time, you do still get other races. There are other opportunities to advance through to quarterfinals and beyond through repechages, but that adds a whole lot more to the workload for the likes of Katarina Buric, the Croatian Dalmatian, missing out in that heat. Again, it's 4 athletes in this one. Yermek, the Kazakh Nomad, the Wildcat from Ukraine, Adamenko, Batilga from Mongolia, and Eckstein, the German Wolf, Lisa Eckstein.
Go to the start.
The Kazakh in helmet number 59 on that inside track, who races out of the blocks in the dark blue suit. Just in behind her in the bright blue suit is the Ukrainian Wildcat, Adamenko.
The Kazakhstan Nomads women's team coming off of their first World Tour medal ever in the relay last year. History being made as brand new head coach Wilma Boomstra takes over the team over the summer.
Clear gap at the moment. The Mongolian skater has fallen off the back, so these 3 looking comfortable for now. It is Yeremek, the Kazakh Nomad, Adamenko from Ukraine Wildcat, and then the German Wolf, Lisa Eckstein, just jostling for who will finish where in those 3 positions. Best times, of course, that will allay to how they line up later on, and it is the Kazakh Nomad, Maliki Yeremek, who finishes first from Eckstein and Adamenko.
Eckstein making a courageous move into second. She didn't need to do that. She was safe in 3rd place qualifying position. That being said, if you can get a faster time, that means a better lane position moving on. And as long as you can do it with style, like this, up and in, that's what it's supposed to look like. Ukrainian skater giving way, Adamenko. Again, that is something that's important. It's new in the rules here that it is the responsibility, even if you're being passed, to make way as to avoid contact. Otherwise, you risk what's called a shared responsibility. No one gets the penalty, but also no one gets advanced.
Confirmation of that result then. Heat 5 in the women's 500 metres preliminary. It is fast and furious, and just 1 to come. Top 3 advancing through to the heats with the only 2 of the fastest 4 skaters. As we have in this one, another of the Japanese ninjas, Kurokawa, Hungarian, Shimogi, Stahl, the USA Eagle, Louisiana Stahl, and Belgian, the Dutch Lion, Zoe Deltrap. Away they come, a little jockey for position early on, and it is the USA Eagle, Louisiana Style,
and they're going to
goes
restart
down.
the race. Yeah, that was an interesting call by the officials. The racers do have until the 7th block to start cleanly. Louisiana Stall falling just barely, by my eye, past the 7th block, but still being considered worthy of a callback. Very fortunate for all of these skaters, because that was quite a lot of jostling. So we'll get a review at it here. The Dutch line, oh, I see what happened. Dutch line going from outside to in, creating contact, causing Louisiana Stall to spin like a top. So you see the Dutch Lion's hip bumping into Louisiana's knee. There's nothing that can be done in that situation, especially off the start when they're not tucked into their position at top speed yet.
A reset, a rebalance, particularly for Louisiana Style, the USA Eagle, who took the tumble. Get the heart rate, the jitters going, and away they come. These athletes grit their teeth as they come off the line early, and it is the Japanese Ninja Kurokawa who leads them out the front. Style just sitting in the back at the moment. It is the Dutch Lion, Zoe Deltrap, into second place. Style looking to come in around the inside this time. Into third position does the USA Eagle, but a little bit of a gap between the two at the front, the Japanese Ninja and the Dutch Lion. A big gap. There's going to be a real battle for third at the moment.
It is a battle for third right now, and we're seeing a bit of fighting.
Oh, Style forced really, really wide by the Hungarian Falcon Shamogi, and she's gone down again. What a tough outing it is for Louisiana Style. Falls on that final lap. It's easy and safe out the front for the Dutch Lion, Zoe Deltrap. The Japanese Ninja Ki Kurokawa comfortably in second, and then with that real jostle, Shmogi at the back. What a tough start to the day for Louisiana Style.
Absolutely, and it can be challenging to recover after a fall, even if it is just on the start. Really nice move from Deltrap up into second. I like how patient she's skating. She doesn't rush her moves. Look, that little smirk. She knows she's gonna sneak right by with good form. Kurokawa keeping her speed on the outside, making a little room for Deltrap again. Smart racing. And a strong finish.
It must be a nice feeling, is it, when you've got to afford yourself a little smirk, a smile. I've got this under control. Unfortunately, not so for Louisiana Style. It's a really tough.
She really struggled to get up there, holding her back. Thankfully, she is on her feet. I'm not sure if this is a previous injury or if something was just tweaked now, but an upsetting result, especially this is the Team USA Eagles skater first trip to Asia for World Cups. It's her second time on the World Tour circuit, but first time traveling this far away from home. And it's tough, folks. When you come over to these Asian countries, you can't read the signs, you can't watch TV, you can't listen to the radio. The food is totally different. The first time is a huge culture shock, and we haven't even talked about the time change yet. So she's really learning a lot as the youngest member of this team.
All goes in the toolkit for later as her career progresses, as we see those confirmation of those results of the athletes going through to the heats of the of the women's 500 metres. We move on now to the men's 500 metres in these preliminaries. This is a big field as well. We've got 11 of these preliminary heats.
Go to the start.
These men power off the line too, and it is the Polish Hussar Kuczynski hit the front early on, with the Ukrainian just tucked in behind at the moment.
And the Great British Royal coming off of a third place finish in the 1500. Remember, that was just a few minutes ago. He's already out on the ice for the 500. Missing that opportunity for the fastest third in the 15. Let's see if he can get into, we are just taking the first place skater and the 9 fastest seconds. Let's see if he can get up in the qualifying position.
This one cutthroat, absolutely brutal. Got to be at the front, at the head of the field, and at the moment it is still the Polish Hussar who has that front position and will take it in over the line. The rest will look to the clock. Yemchenko, Ukrainian Wildcat, into second place, but comfortable really from start to finish. Had it out of the blocks to the Polish Hussar.
And Poland is well known for their sprinting abilities. Started with Malashevska and Stormowska starting the women off with their well known for their speed, and now the men's side catching up, showing us what they've got at this international level race. We're seeing really level shoulders going into the corner. That's a sign of tremendous technique. You want to see that outside shoulder pressing down towards the outside knee. He's doing it perfectly. We see a little 2-foot there. Again, that means either, hey, I'm at top speed, I can barely hold this turn, or the ice is feeling a little breaky for these male skaters. Now remember, there was no ice resurface after the women's 500, so these men are skating on old ice, which does make a difference.
And when you say breaky, it feels like it starts to break up under your skates?
It feels brittle, like it can't hold you, and it feels kind of like you're going over like moguls in skiing. It's like
it's great for the knees.
Yeah, exactly.
There is confirmation of that first men's 500 meter preliminary with the Polish Hussar Kujinski taking out another of the Polish Hussar Siliot. Lead us out here, Bulgarian king in this one, a Dutch lion, an Italian gladiator, and the Luxembourg athlete Peter Murphy back out again. We saw him earlier as well in the 1500. Quick recovery time from that longer distance, and now the explosive speed off the line. And it's again the Polish Hussar Siliot. Again, reminder, just the first place skater directly through to the next round in this competition. At the moment, it is still the Polish Hussar Siliot at the front.
My eyes are on the Italian skater. Italians well known for their sprinting, and a smooth move up into second. That pass did not look like he had much time to set it up, but he was still able to complete it, looking for one of those 9 fastest seconds time.
Lorenzo Previatali, the Italian gladiator, right on the hip now, and there's a really tight tussle. The Dutch line coming in. A fantastic finish from Itzhak Talat.
Wow.
Of course, the designer extraordinaire as well of the Crystal Globe helmet, but what a finish. His design skills secondary to his skating skills.
Absolutely, and traditionally we see it's maybe a little stronger in the endurance races, but I will say oftentimes it is the endurance athlete that has success in the 500. The sprinters can win the start, but the endurance athlete, they don't hit their fastest lap until the finish, which is when you need to make the pass and cross the line. So we're seeing a great move here by the Italian skater, no contact, and then coming around here, the Polish Hussar, but we are not getting an image there of Itzhak coming around that final. Here it is, coming up the inside. I don't think he even meant to go into first, but there was just no room, and he was able to dive in and hold it to the finish.
Sometimes it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you do, and that's exactly it for Itzhak Talat, as I say, the designer of the Crystal Globe helmets, the #1, and look how tight it was for that second place. Remembering 9th fastest second place finishers advance. And a good job for the Dutch Lion in helmet 23. Confirming his qualifying spot. Oh, nothing between the Polish Hussar and the Italian gladiator. There's the Pole, who will await a time on qualifying.
Go to the start.
Third heat of the men's preliminaries, then Marcus Howard, the USA Eagle, absolutely exploding off the line to take the early lead from the racing roux from Australia, Lucas Wareham, but it was an explosive start from Marcus Howard.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what he needed to do, is to get out front and create some space. We're seeing the Turkish skater Hatachi coming up into second. A smooth move. Will he get that second, fastest second time?
Trying to cling on to the tail of Howard at the moment. We saw some great passes. Looking to get on the inside. The Turkish Anatolian pass, taking it out. Too tight it was. He takes Howard as well, and that puts the Australian Lucas Wareham, the racing roux, on the front of the pack from Wesley Yates, the great British Royal. But a real collision. There was no room for error, and there was error made.
Tremendous sportsmanship by Marcus Howard right before your screen cut there to him, patting the Turkish skater on the back, even though, hey, that was not a well-completed pass. I understand it. You have to do your best here at the World Tour level, but hopefully we do see an advancement there, just based on the fact that Marcus Howard was in qualifying position. So here's the pass. It's too tight. He's only even. In a perfect world, to really complete the pass, the passing skater has to have their their waist past the shoulders. He's getting there, but not until about the midway of the corner. Going into the corner, they're only even. Potentially, the officials may say that there's a failure to give way, but they also may say poor call or a poor pass moving from inside to out. Let's wait and see.
The official was out on the ice, and now going back just to check a couple of things. I love it, Catherine Reuter, Adamek, all your experience. You saw that crash coming about a split second before it happened.
And we are seeing from the officials here a possible Turkey to USA failure to give way. So again, if you are not clearly and obviously by to the point where you don't force contact, it's someone's responsibility to give way. It does change sometimes based on the circumstance, based on the skater, based on the race, but this was clearly causing contact.
And just give us an idea too for newcomers to this sport. There's obviously some pretty sharp blades being flung in the air, skaters going over the top of each other. They do have a lot of protective equipment under what looks to be a very thin suit.
And we're seeing it right now. That's a Kevlar suit, so that is a cut-proof suit that they wear underneath their spandex suit. The Kevlar coming all the way up to the neck guard underneath their chin. Athletes also wearing cut-proof gloves and cut-proof protection over their ankles. So almost every bit of skin being protected, and a few athletes even choose to wear a face shield to ensure that they never get a blade to the cheek, which is scary, but it does happen.
One of our athletes we'll see later has one of those for sure, but let's get down to the ice for an official review on that crash. Oh. Classic of the genre.
After review, we gave a penalty to skater number 141 from Turkey, an advancement for skater number 54 from USA.
As you expected, it was the Turkey, the Anatolian part who gets the penalty, and Marcus Howard will be advanced, was in good position. Lucas Wareham, the Australian racing route, the benefactor of that crash, he goes through as the #1 qualifier.
54.
And here is the official call. End of straight, inline skater failure to give way. So since he's not clearly by, it was his responsibility to scrub some speed or lift his chest and give the ride away to Marcus Howard.
We have Australian racing rules. Lucas Wareham qualified for the next round.
Five skaters lining up in this, the fourth of the preliminaries. First across the line will advance through to the heats. 9 fastest second place skaters. We've got a Wildcat, a Wolf, a Wolfhound, and a Viking in this one, as well as
and
the Hong Kong Chilen.
And an ice chillin', that's right.
It is the Ukrainian Wildcat, and he leads out the front from the Irish Wolfhound, Sean Knuth. He's got a nice little advantage early on in this 500 meters.
My eyes are on Lou in this race. I know he's far back now, but he's a tremendous racer. He seems to just know when the hole's going to open up. As he's closed the gap, though, here's the thing in the 500. You need to time the pass properly when you close the gap. If you hesitate, you're finished.
It is still Ole Hande, the Ukrainian Wildcat, with clear ice between him and the second place skater. That is Sean Makinov from the Irish Wolfhound, but a job done well from the Ukrainian Wildcat.
A little bit of jostling, a little bit of chaos in that race. We will wait to see the final review and the official time. Lots of speed off the start here, especially for Hyundai, taking off from the pack, pulling a gap. Makinov making a smooth move into second. And then the Norwegian Viking just can't quite keep his edge there. Again, that's the sign of that ice breaking out. It just feels like that when you're skating on it, it feels like chatter underneath your skates and your blades never carve in. And so what you can do about that as an athlete is start to do what's called changing your track. Now that's harder on the legs, but instead of continuing to skate into ruts that are in the track, you want to start skating through the ruts, ideally at a perpendicular angle. It's very challenging and something that only the best and the best can carry out.
And we just see some of the water being poured onto the track as these skaters prepare for the next heat.
And so what they're doing there is squeegee blocks water. First, the ice track maintenance crew will come around with a squeegee and they'll try to press those ruts out, and they'll get any slush that's left from the previous round off of the track. They'll push it off into the middle of the ice. Then they'll change the blocks, because here's the thing. If you set blocks down in fresh water, they will freeze to the ice, and then if an athlete kicks them, they're going to fall down. Now, here's a good example from track maintenance. They found a groove or a rut in the ice. They're going to fill that rut with snow. They're going to pack it in with some water and then use a fire extinguisher to freeze the patch into place. We will see that more and more as the races go on and the integrity of the ice starts to break down throughout the weekend.
Yeah, there it is. Events like this doesn't happen without an army of experts and volunteers, of course, to get everything in condition. Just means these athletes have to wait ever so slightly longer. A slightly delayed start to the day earlier. And on track now is this next group in what is the 5th of the men's preliminaries in the 500 metres. Gets prepared to go as officials also just going around and checking some of those grooves that Catherine Reuter-Adamek was discussing, and then moving the blocks.
So as the officials move the blocks, and sometimes it's the track stewards who move the blocks, what they're doing is putting the blocks onto a fresh track. Now remember, the girls already skated on every single one of these tracks. These tracks are being skated on 2 or 3 times. Fortunately, it's just a 4.5 lap race, but because it's a top speed race, quality of ice really makes a difference. Furkan Akar, the Anatolian par, who was the first Turkish short tracker to represent his country at the Olympics in 2022.
To say, it is a really burgeoning program, isn't it? The Turkish team, Turkey skating. Here representing the Anatolian par. Oh, first early fall, and we'll hear the double gun, and we'll have a restart in this race. A couple of skaters go down. It was Ongryok, the Singaporean Gazelle, first to hit the ice.
And that's it. Anytime you're in lane 3, lane 4, that's a really tough position to be in. Let's see what happens here. Maybe it's just a click of the skates between the Australian Racing Roo and the Ukrainian Wildcat, then causing contact for the Singapore Gazelle. We'll get a restart, but we'll also see a little pit stop. So what skaters can do now is they can hop up onto the pads and visit their coaches. Coaches do a check of the blades. Blades are fragile. So right here, that's called loosening and tightening the bolts. Every set of blades has what's called a bend and a rocker. The rocker is the flattest part of the blade and how much basically of a circle. Circle's not the right word, but like a semicircle on the bottom of your skate. You can rock forward onto the toe for speed or back onto the heel for gliding. There he's using what's called a burr stone to sharpen the edge. All these skaters do sharpen their own skates. Again, that loosening and tightening effect, that's for the bend. The bend is actually put into, again, that semicircle so that as athletes lean onto the ice, they can carve and it helps them change direction, but those numbers are very finicky. Loosening and tightening the bolts helps reset the blade and put the numbers back that the coach painstakingly works to put into the equipment leading up to race day.
That's the Ukrainian Wildcat, Yaroslav Morozov, who's had a bit of running repairs after a first fall. And a couple of skaters before that first bend in this preliminary of the 500 metres. So we get a redo, a second go for these skaters. And this time a little cleaner off the line for all of them, and it is the Turkish Anatolian par Furkan Akar who leads out from the Australian Racing Roo Brendan Corey in the first couple of laps of this quick, smart 500 metres.
And it's kind of easy to see if you know what you're looking for. The Ukrainian Wildcat not feeling comfortable on these skates, spending too much time on his right foot going around the corner. He needs more crossovers in order to close that gap.
It's helmet number 49 of the Anatolian par, the Turkey skater Furkan Akar, who has led from start to finish. The Racing Roo trying to come around the outside here. Can't quite get enough lunge for the line. And a photo finish between Akar and Corey. Turk and the Australian. It was a really strong finish from Brendan Corey. Good strength at the end, and then the wherewithal to lunge for the line, and we will wait the photo finish.
So checking out our replay here, a little stumble by Furkan. And again, watching that Ukrainian Wildcat, see how wide he's stepping out, how tight he's sticking to the blocks. He's not carrying his speed. That tells me some damage was done to his blade during that first start. Furkan stretching for the line and keeping in first position. 42.603 going to Brendan Corey. We'll have to see if that is fast enough.
Now going down to thousands of seconds to determine the winner of that heat, and it is Furkan Akar, the Anatolian par, who takes it by a fingernail from the Australian Racing Roo Brendan Corey.
Morozov finishing with a good time. I am impressed his ability to adapt even when his equipment clearly was not 100%.
Well, first glimpse of one of the superstars coming up shortly as we start to see fans in the crowd. Got some posters for this guy in helmet number 26, Yu Xiaolin, well supported in the crowd.
A crowd favorite, he and his brother Xiaowang.
Donjev, Martinich, Borzag, and Leitzer from East Taipei as they get away in this one in the men's 500, and it is Liu Xiaolin out the front of the pack early on.
Bulgarian King Donchev not protecting his second lane, giving way to the Turkish skater Bozdag. Bozdag, the first ever youth Olympic medalist for Team Turkey. Again, they're putting so much investment into the developing team. And here's a pass, by the Bulgarian King right into the Anatolian par. Xiaolin staying safe in first place.
Yeah, still nice and clear is Liu Xiaolin. He's got Donchev, the Bulgarian King, sitting behind him now, but a decent gap between the field. In fact, it's Martinich, the Croatian Dalmatian, getting up into second spot, but it'll be comfortably out the front for one of the stars, Liu Xiaolin. You hear a couple of supporters in the crowd on that bend cheering on his every move.
The brothers really have, Xiaolin and Xiaowang really have made a statement in this sport. They're so personable and they're so fun to watch. They're tremendous athletes. The Bulgarian King here on the outside, Donchev, trying to make a move here, but again, not really clearly by the Turkish skater Bozdag. Not even shoulders and hips even. So let's see, it looks like the officials are considering possible Bulgaria to Turkey failure to give way with a possible Turkish advancement.
And that, even though clearly Xiaolin clearly out the front, what does happen behind still matters because of those second fastest times and also the possibility of advancement for other skaters to try and make their way through from these preliminaries into the heats.
Coaches on standby, waiting to see the final results.
After review, we give a penalty to skater number 110 from Bulgaria, an advancement for skater number 97 from Turkey.
Well, you've got a future in officialdom. Catherine wrote it out of here because I think that's the second one or third that you've got bang on, an advancement and a penalty. So it is the Turkey skater who gets the advancement.
Well, and remember, since we've seen 2 advancements now, that means we're only down to 7 of those fastest second times. So illegal late pass, and we are looking for shoulders to be even at a minimum going into the corner. He did not even achieve that minimum standard, which is why the penalty clearly goes to number 110 from Bulgaria, Donchev.
7th preliminary in the men's 500 metres, and all these skaters starting to do double duty. Some we've seen already in the 1500 metres earlier this morning, including the German Wolf. There he is in helmet number 83. It's the Czechia Ice Spider who will lead us into that first turn, with the German Wolf Jung sitting in second position at the moment.
An impressive start by Kazakhstan nomad Galiakmatov, going from 5th lane to 3rd place. Now he needs to set up a pass if he wants that fastest second time.
Jung moves into first position, and it's tight between Jung and the Ice Spider, and then that move up into second position.
Galiakmatov, again, 5th lane start all the way up into second. Will he get the fastest time or set this pass up into first?
Oh, he has got that pass up into first. There's a big intake of breath, but it's brilliantly executed from Galiakmatov, the Kazakh nomad, with a wide smile, and why not?
Holy cow. That was incredible. From lane 5 to first at the finish. Again, a true testament to the development of the Kazakhstan nomads. They've had an impressive sprinter in Denis Nikisha for several years now. Finally, the rest of his team starting to catch up. And as we see the review here, it's hard to make a move like this when you've got 3 skaters tight together like that, but he makes a quick move up the inside, tucking into 3rd, keeping his speed. That's impressive. And then defending the inside lane as he kicks out for the line. Clearly happy with himself, and he deserves it.
Big intake of breath, and then a little look up to the screen. Yeah, smile, well deserved. And imagine, congratulations, sitting on the sideline from the coaches. Jacket straight on. These athletes get off the ice pretty quickly. There is confirmation from Germany in that second spot. So best 9, but we've had a couple of advancements, so 9 fastest second places. You start to feel a little nervy.
41.928 is currently the fastest of all the second place times. Again, we will take 7 of those unless there are more advancements.
Go to the side.
Dana Sperens, the Latvian Golden Star, in that number 1 position, and first around the corner. We've got Lucas Henrique from Brazil, and this one too, he's going to have to make moves in the back, giving up 1 position, but already a clear gap between our top 3 as they vie to be the first over the line to advance to the heats.
Berzin, Yazapati, and Noran staying close together here. I'm shocked to see some arms on the back. That means they haven't really opened up yet, but with 2 laps to go, they've got to open up soon.
Time will come too, as it's still Rainer Berzin from the Latvia Gold Star sitting out the front. A real jostle between these 3 at the head of the race. The Belgian Ice Bear, Moran, and Jaspati from the Hungarian Falcons, but it is the Latvian Berzin who led from start to finish and takes that number 1 spot.
Unofficial time 42.1, which is one of the quickest so far that we've seen today. A nice clean start, and again we see those top 3 starting to pull away. Latvian Golden Star Berzins keeping a pace that no one is willing to challenge. And that might be why we're seeing some arms on the backs. Skaters thinking, hey, this is already my top speed. I'm not going to set up any crazy passes here. I'm going to hold out for time. Makes it look so easy, like he's not even nervous, not even stressed. And a 42.06 being the official time for Peter Yazapati. That is in the top 7 fastest seconds so far. We'll see if he can hold on to that.
Still 3 more heats to come in these preliminaries. 3 preliminary heats, so to speak, to advance through to the heats. And yeah, into first across the line, plus the 9 best second place finishes. But we've had 2 advancements, so only looking at 7 of those spots now. There's this ice also too. Now, 9 heats in after the women had also raced on it. And it's the Croatian Dalmatian Kolnic out the front. Early from the New Zealander Lucas McDonald, the Ice Kia tucked into second place as well. Watch two for the Czechia Seoul. Oh, he's just gone down in front of us. And so now it is still Kolnic from Croatia out the front in this 500.
Smooth racing so far. Again, we're seeing some hands on the back here. Now we've got the arm swing, but it just shows me that they're at such a top speed that they're not trying to make a move, they're just trying to go on time.
Martin Kolnic in the front now from the New Zealander Lucas McDonald, the Ice Kia, trying to vie for one of those fastest seconds, but it's an easy job done for Martin Kolnic, the Croatian Dalmatian, taking out that heat.
Going now to the replays, we have a strong and a clean start lining up just like their lane position. We're seeing these crossovers around the track. That's how skaters get up to top speed. And then once they're there, and we see a fall coming around that turn, final turn, diving for the line. And then a quick check back behind for the Ice Kia McDonald, making sure he's safe in second position. .42.49 for that fastest second. We are seeing a lot of skaters pile up from that 42.4 to 42.9. So all those fastest seconds will be spread over only about 5/10, so half a second.
Heat 10 now. Jonas Hammermuller from Germany. The British Royal Neil Tracy had a great weekend last weekend in Beijing as well. Twice full from Austria. Fredrik Pedersen, the Norwegian Viking, and well, the Indian skater. Neil Tracy, bronze medalist in the 1,000 meters in Beijing last week. Chahal from India. Tall figure, is he tall and lean?
We don't see the Indian speed skating team very often, usually once or twice a year, but we have actually a bigger field this week in Seoul than we did last week, with the Singapore and the Mongolian teams, as well, along with the Indians, joining for the World Tour number 4.
Jostle for that first position coming around the opening bend, and it's going to be Tracy. He's going to take it on the inside at the moment. Hammermuller got off the line well, but Niall Tracy from Great Britain, the British Royals, leading out in the early stages of this 500 metres with a tidy start. And now extending that advantage. It'll pass on the inside. It's tight between some of these other skaters.
That was very nice by Hammermuller, letting Pedersen by again. Better to let the pass go and then set something up than risk a fall with no penalty, or sorry, with no advancement.
British skater Niall Tracy sitting comfortably in front. He's got a good distance between him and the second place Norwegian Viking Pedersen, and it will be Niall Tracy from Great Britain easing over the line, the unofficial winner in this 500 metre preliminary.
Unofficial 43.13, which is not currently looking like a fastest second time. We'll have to wait for the official race result. Now watch Niall Tracy coming around this turn and then setting up a pass on the inside, comfortably going to the front. Pedersen holding on to that second place.
It sounds obvious, doesn't it? But in a 500, get to the front as quick as possible. Get yourself out of danger.
That's true. It does sound obvious, but I'll tell you, just having been an athlete, my least favorite feedback was, you needed to go faster.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was great advice.
Just what you want to hear as you're coming off, taking in big breaths of oxygen coming off the ice. There is Niall Tracy. He's looking no small cue next to Fredrik Pedersen's
name, so that will not be a fastest third time. With just one more race left, we're going to know who's advancing in just about 1 more minute.
Go for the start.
4 skaters in this 11th and final preliminary in the men's 500. And getting a good first bend is the Austrian Nico Anderman to lead them out with Maximov, the Bulgarian king, tucked straight in behind.
Maximov building his speed on the outside. I wonder if he'll have what it takes to make a pass. Oh, and we're seeing a fall.
The skater's gone down. The Hungarian out the back. So just 3 left in this. Anderman, Maximov and Josh Carr, the New Zealand ice skier, trying to get on the inside. It's tight between them there too. Anderman holding on as they get the bell in this 500 metres. Little bit of distance now for Anderman to try and work away. Maximov just behind him, lunge for the line, but it'll be Nico Anderman, the Austrian, who kept clear ice in front of him, stayed out of the danger behind, and takes first spot.
And Maximov did everything a person could possibly do to push for that fastest second time, but there was no opportunity to move up into qualifying position. We're seeing an unofficial 43-2. Now let's watch the Bulgarian king here, Maximov. Watch those crossovers. He's got what's called a quick short pivot. He's carrying his speed out the inside here, looking for the inside move. Nothing's available, so carrying the speed to the outside. And again, trying to hit that inside lane, but never getting the burst of speeds he needs to move up into second. Great racing by Nico Anderman, holding lane 1 from start to finish.
We will start again at 11:07.
So that completes the final preliminary in the men's 500 metres. Advancing through to the next round of heats, Nico Anderman it will be, as we then wait confirmation of who the other fastest skaters were. In the second position here as the qualifiers as well. Remember, it was just the first skater across the line who gets that automatic, that guaranteed place into the heats, and it was Itzhak Talat who had the fastest time. And then a couple of advances too for the USA Eagle, Marcus Howard, and the Turkish Anatolia Mohamed Wozak to advance through. Brendan Corey, the Australian, to get through on his time as well.
And we really did see how the ice conditions broke down throughout the course of the race. Time's getting slower and slower. We are overdue for this ice resurfacing break.
It is ice break time, and then after that we will have more action here in Seoul. The women's 1,000 metre preliminaries coming up in about 10 minutes or so.
더 퍼스트와의 인연은 특별했습니다. 다양한 분야의 금융 전문가들이 가장 좋은 플랜을 늘 제시해 주었죠. 자산 관리, 전 KB 골드 & 와이스 더 퍼스트를 추천합니다.
당신의 내일을 위로, 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 위로.
당신이 위로 라이즈 할 수 있도록 라이즈 ETF.
그것은 새로운 간장치킨?
맛소 맵소 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 되게 맛있어. 와우 맵소디 매콤 달콤 짭조름 가치킨의 위대한 탄생 BBQ 맵소디 맛있어? 그 손 치우시고
깨비증권 많이 컸다. 모두의 행복 커져라 뚝딱. 깨비증권 KB증권.
KB페이 다 되는 페이인 거 알죠? 쇼핑도 되나요? 되죠.
항공호텔도
되잖아. 내 차 관리 대담하다.
언제 썼겠지?
되지. 된대요. 돼. 결제해서 라이프까지 됩니다. 다 되는 페이. KB페이. 세상엔 수많은 파랑이 있다. 하지만 우리의 파랑에 정답은 없다. 있는 그대로 파랑하자.
나의 금융 플랜에 맞춰 좋은 차를 바로 찾으니까. 계획 있는 삶, 여유 있는 삶. KB 차차차.
나의 금융 플랜에 맞춰 좋은 차를 바로 찾으니까. 계획 있는 삶, 여유 있는 삶. KB 차차차.
어떤 파랑이든 있는 그대로 파랑하자. 아시죠? 만기 오면 연하의 KB 다이렉트.
만기 fog이야 왔어요.
만기 왔다.
다이렉트 보험도 결국 금융이니까. KB 손해보험 다이렉트.
이것은 1000만을 넘어 2000만의 금융 흥행자 KB 스타뱅킹. 대한민국 모두의 금융 흥행작이 될 때까지.
남자 예비선 경기에서 우크라이나 로스티슬라우 레온테포, 폴란드 디아네 셀리에, 아일랜드 숀 메가너프, 호주 블렌던 코리, 독일 벤 양헌정, 헝가리 피서 야서파티, 뉴질랜드 루카스 맥도날드 선수는 기록으로 예선 경기에 진출하였습니다.
From the men's 500-meter preliminaries, we have Ukrainian wildcats Roslava Leotenko, Polish Hussars Diane Sallier, Ireland C. McNuff, Australian Racing Bruce, and German Wolves Yang Hopin Jung, Hungarian Falcons Peter Yasapati, New Zealand Ice Kias Lucas McDonald, also moving on to the next round.
continuation of racing here on day one of the Short Track World Tour in Seoul. Round 4 of 6 as the race for the Crystal Globe reaches or passes the halfway mark, and athletes chasing in the women's division at the very least. The Dutchwoman Sandra Velzeboer, who we will see later in the day. We're moving into the women's 1,000 metres now, the preliminaries. The first 3 skaters across the line will advance through to the heats, and 2 of the second fastest fourth players in this first one, Kim Bhutan, the Canadian, Tineke Den Dulk from the Belgian Ice Bears, Petra Vankova from the Czechia Ice Spiders, Zhang from Chinese Longs, and Alyssa Pock from the Gazelles. Catherine Reuter Adamek alongside me, this one out for this one. As we get into these 1,000 metres, we've had 1,500s, we've had 500s today. Now we're going to go in the middle for this next round of racing. First 3 will progress. And then as they come off the line, I guess, Catherine, the difference, as we say, in this middle distance of the 3 rather.
Absolutely. So this is the 9-lap race, and this is the speed skaters race, because every sprinter can hold on for a couple extra laps, and every endurance athlete can still hit top speed. It just takes them an extra second to get there. So your 500 meter and your 1,500 meter specialists both meeting here in the middle distance, the 1,000 meter.
At the moment, it is Zhang from the Chinese Longs just ahead of the Canadian Ice Maple. I think the first Canadian Ice Maple we've seen today, and why not make it Kim Bhutan?
And remember, the top 20 do not have to race in the preliminary races. The top 20 won't be here until after the lunch break. So it is surprising to see Kim Bhutan here, but moving comfortably to the front and strong enough to lead this race start to finish.
In control at the moment, as we say, just the first 3, so quite the same jeopardy as we have seen in a couple of the other heats, particularly as we did in the 500, as it's Kim Bhutan who eases through the front at the moment. Zhang from the Chinese Long first, and the Ice Spider, Petra Vankova, in 3rd place at the moment.
And I would say 1 and 2 are pretty locked up right now. These 2 skaters don't even need to really compete at this point. They need to stay safe coming across the finish, but we may have a bit of a fight here for 3rd.
Safe at the moment are the 2 out the front, but it is the Belgian Ice Bear, Tineke Den Dulk, who's trying to put some pressure on into that 3rd position, but Vankova holds on to it comfortably. And Den Dulk, the Belgian Ice Bear, will have to see if that time is good enough to be one of the second fastest 4th place finishers of the 6 preliminaries we have in the 1,000 metres. It is Kim Bhutan, the Canadian Ice Maple, though, who takes it with relative ease.
So we are still playing a bit of a game of conservation. Oh, and we do see a little bump here from Vankova coming up into 3rd. Now, what officials are looking for is clear and obvious contact that impacts the result of the race. That it will not be reviewed. That was not clear and obvious. It did not make a large impact on the results of the race. Kim Bhutan, Yizhe Zhang, and Petra Vankova through safely to the next round.
There is that confirmation of the top 3, Bhutan, Zhang and Vankova. Tineke Den Dulk. And the Belgian Ice Bears will await the outcome of these next handful of heats, as we see heat 2 in the 1,000 metre preliminaries. Konya from Hungary, as Klieva, Kazakh Nomad, Buric, Croatian Dalmatian Chatasong, Thai Elephant, and Batuga from Mongolia. Settling into position early, Kazakh Nomad. Now they get into their groove, their routine. How much will each athlete, they know each other's strengths and weaknesses, where they can push, or you're in your own head, your own race?
No, absolutely. Everyone knows who's a sprinter, who's an endurance skater, who's good at passing, who's good at defending. So strong strategy by Asgaliev to just go to the front. It's not a strong pace, 12-9, we're close to the 13s. However, a little move here.
It's a Thai skater, Chatasong, who's moved out to the front early. push this pace. 9 laps to come, and now another move around the outside. Tightly bunched this group. The Hungarian skater looking to get herself back into that front position is Konya, and does exactly that. And skater goes down though, as you say, the move was coming, and you could see it coming. The crash between the Kazakh Nomad
and the Thai Elephant, and we are seeing that little yellow dot on your screen, so that will be reviewed. Buric now staying in second place.
And it'll be the Mongolian. Remember, it's the first three will advance from here, and these three have kept themselves out of trouble. Video review of the incident between the other two. But at the moment, it is Konya, the Hungarian Falcon, is easing out the front along with the Croatian Dalmatian Katarina Buric. And then third place will go to Gilita Batulga from Mongolia. But we await the review between the Thai and the Kazakh athlete.
That certainly will be reviewed. Let's see if we're getting any notes from the officials. No possible announcements yet, but it's coming. So we'll watch the reskate here. A pretty pedestrian start. Nobody really wanting to take this out, except for the Thai Elephant. Oh, look at that. Mid-race, being able to make an adjustment there to her equipment. But a late move by Kazakhstan, not getting by, causing some contact. We'll see if it's the Kazakhstan skater or the Thai Elephant that gets the call, or if officials decide, hey, it's a contact sport, potentially there's a shared responsibility. Awaiting the final results. It's just the worst feeling when you know there's nothing you can do but wait for someone else to decide on your behalf.
Into the video review room, and that is what they are deciding between those couple of athletes.
Reviewing the pass from every angle. So again, seems to be even in the shoulders, but we won't know who gets the call until we see a little different view. There's a hand on the thigh there, so that's possible for an arm block. And again, I'm not seeing that here from the officials. I'm assuming that's a tough way to enter the pads, though. Feet first.
Well, the officials are making live notes, aren't they, of what they are seeing on review as they all put it together. And that's what you're seeing. You've got access to those live notes of what they are looking for.
It's very helpful because there's many things that could be happening, and so without those 6 camera angles, it's not possible from our singular angle to know. But here they're going to tell us down on the ice.
After review, we gave no penalty, video responsibility for Kazakhstan and for Thailand.
Helmet number 88 and 108, Kazakh Nomads and Thai Elephants.
So
no penalty.
So a shared responsibility, which means no call. And occasionally a shared responsibility will result in a penalty for both skaters, but in this instance, they decided, hey, both, you knew what you were doing. So here we'll see here's the angle. We see the inside skater coming out, but the outside skater coming in. So they're both being pretty aggressive going into the corner, and neither one gets the call.
Impassive on the side, watching on as we go into our next preliminary in the 1,000 meters. Valentina Asic from Croatia, Croatian Dalmatian, the Chinese Long Xiang, Hungarian, and Nikola Mazur, the Polish Hussar.
Another slow start, but shaking off here, Zhang Chutong in the lead, saying, I don't want to get mixed up into any trouble. Smart move, allowing the Polish Hussar Mazur to come up front, because remember, second place is oftentimes the best place to be. The leader of the pack has to break the wind, which takes a little more energy. To draft in second is the most efficient place usually. Zhang Chutong coming back into the lead, and now we're starting to see the skaters start to fight.
And the Hungarian Falcon, it is Rebecca Schliesnik-Nemec Message the Croatian just bringing up the rear of this field now as they jostle with 5 laps to go. Chinese athlete on the outside, the Chinese Long Zhang trying to come around that outside, giving herself plenty of room to try and make her way to the front. Ooh, still tucked in second, continuing around the outside, and now moves her way into first position is Zhang. Mazur, the Polish hussar, just in second as well. Remember, first 3 in this heat will advance, so you've got a little bit of wiggle room, but only a little bit.
Yeah, and I am surprised to see Eskic staying in the back. I'm hoping she can make a power move here, but she's running out of time.
Now starting to make a move on that outside is the Croatian Dalmatian on the bell, but has to do a lot of work around the wide channel of this race. And I don't know, is she just about, yeah, she did well in the end. Asic, the Croatian, to get up, looked like into second, but a photo for second.
Photo for second,
third and fourth.
So we'll have to wait for the official review. Zhang Chutong, the only one going through for certain at this, well, the only one we have a final time on at this point. Now a strong move up the inside by Mazur. Smart skating, and then the Hungarian Falcon staying in top 3 position throughout the majority of the race. Zhang making it look easy, defending that inside lane as she comes across the line. Again, second, third, and fourth diving, and here we have the photo finish.
Well, it was the Croatian who came right from the back in that final lap to
take
second spot. Yep, second spot. Really tight between second, third, and fourth in this 1,000. Croatian switch getting up into second as we see Eckstein from the German Wolves, Sidorka, the Ukrainian Wildcats, Lamb from Hong Kong Chilin, and New Zealand Ice Kia, Leah Mead.
Sorry, Hyojin Kim, a Racing Roo here.
Oh, sorry, Racing Roo, missed one. I've gone one early, Leah Mead in the next one. There's the Racing Roo. How could I forget a Racing Roo?
It's such a great name, isn't it?
Such a great name.
Such a great name.
Yeah, known certainly very feisty, the Australian kangaroo. We'll see Kim Hyojin in that green and blue strip with that boxing kangaroo on the front as his athletes ease around the first bend. There's the Ukrainian Wildcats with Dorka in the front.
Kim sneaking into third. I do anticipate there'll be a lot of jockeying for position here as Lamb says, okay, I want to go to the front.
Yeah, lots of lead changes over the course of this 1,000, and it is the Hong Kong Chilin Lamb, which is a mythical animal, but also translate to ice cream apparently, so a double great meaning for...
I guess it just depends what motivates you from day to day. Do I want to be an ice dragon, or do I want to go out for
ice cream? Yeah, whatever works for you.
Both options are good.
And now the pace starting to come on in this race. Oh, a little shove between Lamb and Sidorka.
Doesn't change the outcome, though. I'll be surprised if they review it. Sidorko going right back to the front. Strong lead here.
No sign of a review. A little yellow dot on the bottom, so 4 laps to go. And it is really tight between these 4 athletes. Starting to see Lisa Eckstein, the German Wolf, coming around the outside now too. And the Racing Roo just almost tried to make a move, but as the pace really comes on, it's been well timed from the Germans stretching away. And now the Racing Roo, Kim does get herself up into second position. First 3 advancing.
Kim makes it look easy, 2 hands on her back. She's in a safe position here. She can pass if she wants to prove a point, but she doesn't have to move on to the next round.
And there'll be a battle for third position, which at the moment is going to be with Lam Qingyan from Hong Kong, and it is the German Lisa Eckstein who bided her time nicely. Well-timed race to take first position from the Australian Racing Roo, Hyojin Kim, with Lam Qingyan in third position.
And that is the slowest time that we've seen today so far without a fall. We'll wait to see the official fastest fourth time, but now the last 2 races are going to know exactly what they need to do if they want one of those fastest 4th place times. A little bump here. Remember, officials are looking for something clear and obvious that impacts the outcome of the race. It's clear and obvious there was contact there, but there was no effect on the outcome of the race, so no call being made.
Well, the basic principle is winning the race on merit, isn't it? Basic
Correct.
principle of the sport.
Correct, and it is worth noting that any little bump does cause a significant drain of energy between both the bumping and the bumping skater and the skater receiving the bump, but considering it's not anyone out of position, no call.
Confirmation there, Lisa Eckstein, the German Wolf, taking top spot and advancing through relatively comfortably from these 1,000 metre preliminary as we move through to the next one. Malika Yermak from the Kazakh Nomads, Svetlana Repetska, Ukrainian Wildcat, Louisiana Stahl from the United States, who is on the start line after a really tough early day. She fell twice in the 500 metres and looked in some discomfort. And then Leah Mead in helmet 96, the New Zealand Ice Care, but we will keep an eye on Louisiana Stahl because she did look in some pain after a couple of crashes earlier on today.
She did. If she's in pain, she's not showing it now. She's moving right up into the front. Not as smooth as you might like, but hey, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work.
Louisiana Stahl is saying the youngest in this US team, first time travelling to Asia for a World Cup World Tour event as these athletes start to pick up the pace, and it is the Kazakh Malika Yermak with the New Zealander Leah Mead just tucked in behind her, Stahl in 3rd position.
And this is a good enough pace. I don't know if it'll be in the top 2 fastest times, but they're not slouching here. They're definitely going for a time. I would like to see Louisiana Stahl make a power move. She's going to have to put a little gap between her and 2nd place before building and then taking a choice inside or outside.
And top 3 will advance through from this with just 2 of the fourth fastest skaters advancing from the group. So a well-matched field at the moment, which is still being led by Malika Yermak, the Kazakh Nomad, at the front with Mead from New Zealand 2nd. Here comes Stahl. Take a little move around the outside, but well covered at the moment. Now going on the inside is Louisiana Stahl up into 2nd place, and a little bit of breathing room for Yermak at the front of the field with Stahl just behind her. And now a real battle for 3rd between Mead from New Zealand and Repetska from Ukraine. There's a photo finish for that 3rd spot.
Smart of Louisiana Stahl to get up into 2nd when she did, just so that she wouldn't have to risk that photo finish for 3rd. Unofficially looking in the 137s, that may not be fast enough for a fastest 4th time. Seeing the replays here, when athletes put their hands down on the ice like that, that's called a pivot. They have little plastic, what are called tips on their tips of their gloves, the fingertips of their gloves. Just eliminates friction as they slide their hand across the ice. The hand goes down to help with balance. It's also good timing, helps with rhythm. You don't have to put your hand down. In fact, if you see a skater, especially at top speed, going around the turn without putting their hand down, it's a sign of tremendous control.
And then confirmation, so it was Svetlana Repetska from Ukraine who took that 3rd position in the photo finish, and that 4th place not going to be fast enough for the New Zealander, the New Zealand Ice Kia Leah Mead, getting my New Zealand birds mixed up. Into the final heat now. Lena Yamana from Japan, Gabriela Topolska from Poland, Annabelle Green, the British Royal, and Miroslav Silukova, the Ukrainian Wildcat. And it is the Japanese Ninja, Lena Yamana, leading them out early from Green from Great Britain. And already a little move coming around the outside just to ease herself into that front position. The Polish Hussar and the Japanese Ninja is going head-to-head at the moment for that leading spot.
And so no one is really taking a decisive lead of this race yet, and it's one of the strategies that we see. You can do what's called a cruising speed. It's not a pace that's impossible to maintain, but it encourages movement. Now that Yamana's in the front, we do see a little picking up in the pace, just slightly. We are staying in the low 11s with 5 laps to go, so that means there's going to be room for a big move from the back of the pack.
Marina Yamana from Japan in front, just from Annabelle Green, British Royal. Topolska, the Polish hussar, sitting in third, and Silyukova, Ukrainian Wildcat, in the bright blue and yellow, that famed Ukrainian colour, in fourth position. And now the pace starts to pick up and moves being made. The Japanese Ninja trying to hold on to that front position. The Polish hussar still sitting in third as we get the bell lap in this 1,000 metre, and it's Yamana from Japan, or from Green of Great Britain. The Polish hussar Topolska sitting in third, and that is how it looks. It will stay as they ease over the line.
That will not be fast enough for a fourth place finish, looking like heats 1 and 3, giving the fastest fourth place finishes today. Clean start. Everyone lining up. Now again, remember, when you're seeing a skater on the outside there, they're building their speed. Smooth move by Topolska up into the first place spot there. And then Yamana coming up saying, hey, it's my turn. I want to control the speed of this race. Feeling comfortable coming around that apex block. Good acceleration on her exits around block 5 or 6. That is typically the fastest place on the ice, because the corner exit is where athletes can use physics to slingshot their speed out of the corner into the straightaway. And a really elite move is using that slingshot to nail the timing of a pass.
Absolutely love the look and everything of the Japanese Ninja, from the logo to the name and to the background of it. And it is Rina Yamana who takes that top qualifying spot. Annabelle Green from the Great Britain Royals, and Gabriela Topolska, and as Catherine said, no fourth place fastest finish in that. So there's confirmation of our qualifiers. The preliminaries going through to the heats in the women's 1,000 metres. First 3 across the line, and every one of those 6 heats will have advance, and then we will see the little cues go to Hungarian Falcon and Tenika Dendel from Belgian Ice Bears to advance. We'll move straight on to the men's 1,000 metres preliminaries as well. No ice break in between these two events, as we have Hayashi from Japan, Wareham of Australia, Jaspati from Hungary, Cleverstone, Norway, and Denableg from Mongolia. Powering away early in this one, and already hitting some decent speed is the Japanese Ninja, Kosei Hayashi from Lucas Wareham from the Australian Racing Roos.
Again, we are just taking the winner from the men's preliminaries and the fastest 9 second place finishers. If there are advancements, that will reduce the number of fastest second place slots.
Well, it adds to the jeopardy, doesn't it, in these fields? 11 of these preliminaries to come, and at the moment the Australian Lucas Wareham eases his way to the front. Well, I say eases, no, it's nothing easy about it at all, as he takes the lead from Hayashi of Japan. There's a little bit of a string out now as the Mongolian athlete falls off the back of this group of 4 at the front of the race.
Yazapati now making his move up into second place. Nice patience so far. There are still 3 laps to go, so you won't see a strong sprint here for about another lap and a half.
Oh, strategy's so much part of it, isn't it? Picking your moment, biding your time as to when you want to make that move. At the moment it is the Japanese Ninja who's got himself back in front. Hayashi from Yazapati, Hungary. Wareham, the Australian, still there. They've lost Cleverstone off the back. And in the end, it was, we'll say, Hayashi from Japan.
Fighting for that photo finish. Taking a look now, Cliff Stewin putting a strong start, saying, hey, I want to be in front as soon as possible, but Hayashi really controlling this race. And the Japanese skaters do such a good job pressing down into that basic position, which is what we call the skater's crouch, is basic position. Nice low chest to thighs, knees coming down. Watch his left knee as he finishes his crossover. It's all the way down by his right ankle. That's a good sign of depth in the skating position. And he's not even breathing hard. 28.843, the finishing time for Yazapati, confirmed coming in second.
Tight between the Hungarian Falcon and the Australian Racing Roux. Next group of skaters on the ice in the men's 1,000 metres. Kazakhstan, USA, Norway, Ireland and Hungary. Moon Wonjun advancement earlier in the day. Liam O'Brien from Ireland, Frederick Peterson of Norway, Clayton De Clemente from the United States, and Zov from Kazakhstan as they go away. It is a Kazakh nomad and lead them through that first turn with the USA Eagle. Clayton De Clemente sitting in second spot.
And it's worth noting that one of the reasons why this new racing structure is so hard is because of how dependent all-arounds are on time. So there's never an easy race. Even if you're up against competitors you feel confident against, just the pace that your competitors will push is enough to wear you out. And we're not even through the halfway through.
haven't even made it to the end of the first real session on a day one in these qualification day. 3 big days of racing building towards finals of tomorrow afternoon and Sunday afternoon here local time. At the moment it is the Kazakh nomad out the front, Mitov.
That's right, and De Clemente sitting in second. He's about to build up though. Nice powerful move on the outside. And then here's what I love about his skating style. Puts 2 arms back on his back and kills the speed. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to go to the front and just start sprinting. You're supposed to go to the front and manage your energy. Now here we go, swinging an arm just quickly out of the exit, adding a little crossover here and there, slowly and surely increasing the speed to the last lap.
Really decisive, wasn't it, to get himself into front position here was from Clayton De Clemente. Picked his moment and then surged away, and he'll take first position. Well executed race from the USA Eagle.
Yes, easily first place finish there. Galiakhmatov staying in a close second, just not even a full 1/10 of a second behind in second position. We'll keep track of those fastest second times for you and let you know at the end who's going to the next round. So a little jostling there, everybody getting a little too close together. Now here's the power move from De Clemente. See how he picks up his foot speed, swings his arm, and then right away, hands on the back, turn off the gas. That's how you conserve energy in the race. Now, if you do too much up and down acceleration, it can become quite exhausting, but he manages his speed perfectly, coming all the way to the finish. 129.392 for Galiakhmatov.
Here it is, so Galiakhmatov will have to wait to see if he is one of the 9th fastest. Second place finishes. Job done for Clayton De Clemente in his first skate of the weekend. We move through to Heat 3, Wesley Park of the USA Eagles, Nico Anderman from Austria, Josh Cart, the New Zealand Ice Kia, Wesley Yates from the Great Britain Royals, and Lorenzo Privitali from the Italian Gladiators. Distinctive blue Italian suit, but it is the British Royal out the front early, and now the jockey for position to take that spot. And it is the Austrian Nico Anderman who will lead in the early stages from the American Eagle. Wesley Park, a Wesley and a Wesley. Wesley Yates from Great Britain sitting in third.
Anderman very strong from the front. He's good at managing his speed, and we do see a move here coming from Yates on the outside. Let's see if he scrubs the speed or just keeps it and picks up the pace of this race. Oh, Wesley Park doing a smooth move into second and leaving a little space. Remember, that's a sign of good strategy. A beginner skater gets nervous. They have to be really tight and close to other skaters all the time, whereas an advanced skater does that. Exactly what Wesley Park just did. They use their speed to close the gap and then use that gap closing to make the pass. Smooth move.
Wesley Park, it is from the United States. We see Yates just got in a little bit of a tangle here with the Italian Gladiator, who's now going to try and make a move around the outside. Previtali with the American holding him off though. Well done there from Park. It is still Previtali, the Italian Gladiator. Again, the British athlete has to stand up, and then coming her in the outside, the inside rather, again is Anderman. Really tight skater goes out. It's the American who goes down. That's Wesley Park, and it's now Nico Anderman from Austria who lunges for the line and holds off Previtali, the Italian Gladiator. Plenty of action, lots of lead changes, and one late crash from the American. That's frustrating for Wesley Park, who'd done such good work earlier on.
Absolutely, and they really did save all the moves there for the last lap, didn't they? And so Wesley Park did everything right. I'm not sure if or how he could have avoided that fall going into the second to last turn. We'll check the replays. Strong move here by Yates coming around the outside, and he doesn't scrub his speed too much. Okay, now let's watch here. Oh, there is a bump, some shoulder contact. From this angle, it's not possible to see if it's an outside to in or an inside to out. The officials are reviewing it. Previtali working to try and get the finish, but Anderman holding on.
Officials having a look at the cause of the fall for the USA Eagle. Wesley Park, he's left the ring, he's off.
And so you can see as we're zoomed out here, there's that red line, that red oval, and that's showing kind of the shape of the traditional speed. Oh, here's our final call, and there is no call.
That might be why Wesley Park headed off the ice pretty quickly, didn't expecting one. So it is Nico Anderman from Austria who takes it from Lorenzo Previtali, Italian Gladiator. Sellier, Polish hussar, Hyundai from Ukraine, Warol, Belgian Ice Bear, Donchev, Bulgarian King, and from Taipei, Kwanchen Laisai. Leading them into that first corner is the Ukrainian. In a good early position is Hyundai.
Hyundai pushing the pace early, which is actually quite helpful for Sellier. Sellier wanted to take the lead off the start, but Hyundai says, nope, I got it. And what that tells me is that Hyundai trusts his legs. Remember, he had a little, one of the Ukrainians had a little click with their blades. You know, I'll just stay focused here on Hyundai, who's saying, hey, I trust my legs. I think I'm going to be the strongest one on these 9 laps. Even if Sellier can get around and take that first position away, Hyundai wants that fastest second time.
5 skaters settling into a routine. The Taipei athlete, let's say, has just fallen off the back, so it's 4 at the front, still being led, now rather being led by the Polish hussar Sellier, with Hyundai just tucked it in behind the Belgian Ice Bear. Also there as well, and then Donchev from Bulgaria, the 4th of these 4. First across the line, will move through to the next round automatically. As again, it's the Ukrainian Hyundai who takes the front on the belt, holding that front position as well from the Polish hussar Sellier, who might have one more move in him, perhaps not, and it will be, is it this going to be the Ukrainian just to hold out the front. Well executed again from Ole Hyundai to advance through.
And again, you see that sportsmanship, even though only one skater being guaranteed moving on here. Just the mutual respect. That was a hard pace, especially by Hyundai, putting that much effort into leading and still finishing in first. moving smoothly into the first position, nailing the timing on that pivot, even though he's wide on the last corner, having enough speed to stay in first. Cellier coming around with a 1:26.470. That is our fastest time today. I'll be surprised if that falls off. That may certainly be one of our fastest second times.
And from Cellier, Watanabe from Japan, Liu of Hong Kong, China, Megan from the Ukrainian Wildcats, Gurov, the Bulgarian King, and Temprom, Thai Elephant, to line up in this one. Number 5, heat 5 of these preliminaries. First across the line, advances straight through to the heats. 9 of the second fastest out of the 11 heats. Early jockey from the Thai Elephant, and we're going to have a crash straight away. Skater went down. There was a real rumble. There's the Thai Elephant skater, Temprom, came around, and it's the Bulgarian Gurov who goes down and is going to get his skates and blades checked and fixed.
Now, watching the replay here, my screen's frozen, so I don't know if we're going to see. Oh, here we go. Let's see what happens here. We're watching the Bulgarian King as he comes around block 5. He seems to just hit his toe into the ice, and that's an official's discretionary call. If there's body contact, if there's blade kicking, that's a definite restart. But sometimes, even if it's just a simple mistake like toeing in, the officials do have the discretion to restart the race all the way around to that 7th block. And again, we're seeing, he's got one coach on each skate here, loosening and tightening the bolts.
It's efficiency.
That's efficiency, and that right there is Evgenia Radionova, truly a legend in the sport, one of the fastest 500-meter skaters of her time, and mentor to Ariana Fontana. So even as Evgenia is moving on in her career from athlete to coach, sharing her knowledge with the next generation of skater, sharing her blade tech expertise with her own team. And we're back on the ice.
We'll see Ariana Fontana later on. He's an 11-time Olympic medalist, aiming for his 6th Olympics on home ice in Milan Cortina in 2026, which is starting to loom on the horizon pretty quickly. We lurch our way to Christmas and into the new year. It'll be with us before you know it. It's 2026 Winter Olympic Games.
Everybody's already counting down the clock. Even though we're just over a year out, the test event will be in Milan, World Tour number 6 in February.
Weekend of 14th of February, that one. Following on from the event in the Netherlands. In Tilburg in Feb. That'll be the continuation of the short track World Tour. This is round number 4 here in Seoul as we get ready for a restart in this 5th of 11 heats in the men's 1,000 metres. Much cleaner off the line this time from all 5 skaters as they settle into position and settle into a rhythm across this 1,000 metres. And it is the Japanese skater, the Japanese ninja Keita Watanabe, who leads them out over the early stages.
Watanabe and Liu are the top-ranked skaters going into this race. That doesn't mean everything in this sport. It's often the smartest skater and not the strongest skater who succeeds. But I do really enjoy watching Liu here because he's got really good race timing. As we've mentioned so far, you're seeing that little gap between first and second place. Now, that's not because Liu can't keep up with Watanabe. That's because it's good practice to keep a little space between you and the skater ahead of you. It's good for offense, it's good for defense, and it's a sign of an experienced racer.
It is Liu Zhanshao just still sitting in second place and now starting to make a little surge, trying to go around the outside of Watanabe, holding him off for now, and now he does get that front position. Well-timed move from Liu from Hong Kong, China to get in front of Watanabe, and now gives himself a little bit of room at the front of the pack.
My personal opinion, I think he's going a little, well, with 2 to go, I think it'll let's see if he holds on.
Let's go Watanabe right on the shoulder. It's real head-to-head between Watanabe, who now takes the front on the bell lap, right on the stroke of that bell. Keita Watanabe from Lu of Hong Kong, and it will be Watanabe who takes it from Hong Kong China athlete Lu Zhanshuo.
And it's always a 6 of one, half dozen of the other. My personal opinion, I feel that when Lu went to the front, obviously you want to get to the front and go top speed, but if you go too soon, go too fast too soon, you can't maintain it. You'll just get passed on the last lap. But since we are going for second fastest times here, we are seeing some contact going into the corner there. Really great foot speed by Lu coming around the outside. Watanabe moving up in speed and then finishing on this beautiful pass, leaving no question that he's the stronger skater coming around the final turn.
It is Keita Watanabe with Lu from Hong Kong, the small queue or the clock waiting to see if that will be one of the fastest times to get him through, moving on to Heat 6, and it is Czechia Ice Spider Fackles, Tobias Wolf from Austria, from the Singapore Gazelle, Zakshabiev of Kazakhstan, and Chiang Mai from Thailand. Nice and relaxed, the Austrian skater, Tobias Wolf.
Go to the start. Red.
Powering off the start, it is the Czechia Ice Spider, the 1,000 meters in between our three distances here, 500, 1,000 and 1,500 meters. Some of the early pace being set by the Czechia Ice Spider, with Wolf from Austria sitting in second. First across the line, advances directly through to the heats from these preliminaries.
We do not seem to be going for time on this race. It's a slow start. Coming around the outside, Singapore Gazelle. Hawk saying, hey, I want that fastest second time. And remember, it is a risk to come up to the front like this, because the risk is you might not have the legs to stay in the top two at the finish, but it's just as much of a risk to stay in the back. It doesn't matter if you finish in the second if you don't have that qualifying time.
Brandon Youngpai Pot making the first move of this 1,000 as we're through 6 laps, 4 laps to go. 9-lap race, and now some of the pace starting to be picked up, and a nice little move on the inside by the Austrian Tobias Wolf to get himself into the front of this race. Only the first one automatically qualifies, and now the Kazakh athlete, the Kazakh nomad, will see a change of lead once again after a slow start. Now changing again as these athletes get the belt in the final lap of the race. It is from Ukraine, and now again Wolf gets himself in front, picks his moment just the right time, does Tobias Wolf.
Smooth move by Tobias Wolf, great patience. You know, it's hard to keep your cool when you're not in qualifying position, but it's something that the stronger skaters do. Races, it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish, and lots of races are won at the finish line. There's plenty of time, even when there's just a half lap left in the race. So seeing Pak here come around the outside, picking up the space. Skaters going 3 wide down this straightaway, fighting for position. Wolf moving up into first. Little bobble there by Zakshabiev. And he'll just be hoping, the Kazakhstan nomad will be hoping for a time, a 1:34. That is our slowest race today. He will have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Going to be right on the cusp for Zakshabiev, and it is Tobias Wolf with the strongest of the finish to secure automatic qualifying position from the preliminary through to the heats of the men's 1,000 metres. Big day of racing for many of these athletes. Quarterfinals in the 1,500 heats. And of course, we've got a round of relays as well later this afternoon too. Moving through to Heat 7 of the 1,000, Evchenko from Kazakhstan, Peter Murphy from Luxembourg back out there, camaraderie of Bulgaria, Van Dam, the Belgian Ice Lion, and Murat Tishat, the Turkish athlete, the Anatolian Par, back on the ice.
Evchenko having the highest rank coming into this race. And it's not always the strongest, but the smartest, but I do expect to see quite a bit of pushing the pace in this round. There's multiple skaters who have a good chance to make it through.
Go to the start.
Officials on the start. Yes, away. There's going to be an early lead out of the pace as they settle into a rhythm, settle into position. And Kazakh Nomad at the front. At the moment, Evchenko from Peter Murphy of Luxembourg. Easing through the inside, the Bulgarian.
Yeah, and smart skating by Evchenko to not really defend that first spot. It kind of makes me think he didn't want to lead, and that's okay. It's actually kind of smart to go out to the front in the beginning. You know other skaters will want to come up and push the pace, and now Evchenko can just kind of rest a little bit while these two skaters, the Anatolian Par as well as the Bulgarian King, start to battle it out. Evchenko, ooh, not so smooth move. No yellow dots. No yellow dots on your screens. They won't be calling it.
It was the Bulgarian who got really tangled up. Kumudiev lost the speed, and now he's sort of stringing out again. As Evchenko tries to go back up at the inside. It is the Turkish Anatolian Taki at the front at the moment, because it's that decision when to engage and when to throw down the gauntlet, and that is now being thrown down by Evchenko. From Kazakhstan, the Kazakh Nomad has given himself a handy little buffer right on that bell, as we've seen so many of these skaters do. There's a real jostle, a photo for that second position.
Van Dam waiting until the very last moment to try to set up a pass and dive for the line. And again, there's that sense of patience. Sometimes you accidentally wait too long, but sometimes if you go too soon, you just create contact. And it's better to cross the line safely than to create contact. So again here, Evchenko saying, I don't really need to lead the whole thing. Hey, my personal opinion, a little too close for comfort there, but it is a contact sport. Officials seeing no reason for a race review. Evchenko going easily back up to the front and maintaining easy to the finish.
I like how they also describe it contact sport, also a close proximity sport, and that exactly as it is. We see that photo finish, and it is.
Van Dam did make it into second.
I was just about to say, look to the other way, but it's the Belgian.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Nice beer, yeah.
You're right. It was the Turkish Anatolian Par in second.
Well, there was next to nothing between them. Close enough.
Less than 100th of a second.
And down to the small margins for second place and a chance to advance through in 1,000 metres now into the 8th heat. It is met from Belgian Atan, another of the Turkish Anatolian Pars, Jonas Hammermuller, the German Wolf, Lucas McDonald, New Zealand Ice Kia, and Lucas Henry Kook from Brazil.
Go to the start.
Belgian Ice Bear extenders met at the early running. He gets that little hand on the back.
Desmet is more of an endurance skater, so he will be very comfortable leading this race at a fast pace. Lucas Koo coming around to the front. This skater is actually living in the United States and competing for Brazil.
His father's family all from Brazil. gets to represent that country, the first South American at a Youth Olympic Games a couple of years back, and leading this race at the moment, Lucas Henry Koo.
See some jostling in the back between Atan and Hammermuller. And now the New Zealand Ice Kia saying, I don't want to be a part of this jostling. Building on the outside, but not making much purchase.
Still Koo from Brazil in the front with the Belgian Ice Bear Desmet tucked in behind, and the Anatolian Parmesan Atan in a third position. First place gets the automatic qualifying spot in through to the next round. Now Desmet makes a nice little move to get past Koo, and a second coming from Atan, the Turkish skater from Turkey as well. Desmet holding front position at the moment, leading with just a couple of laps to go. They will get the bell after this one. They've opened up a real buffer to have Desmet and Atan. It's going to be them for 1 and 2. Desmet keeping control at the moment from the Turkish skater. The Anatolian Par will have to settle for second and see if his time will be fast enough. But it is Desmet, the Belgian Ice Bear, who finishes the strongest.
And so even though we didn't see a blistering pace there at the beginning, we did see a pretty good clip at the finish. Lucas Koo really taking the brunt of the leading there, and that can be helpful. You don't have to start out as a sprint, you just have to be consistent. Stan Desmet doing all crossovers around that corner to finish his pass in just a straightaway. Atan using every trick in the book to try to get by. Desmet using his defensive tactics to keep Atan behind. The 131.518 for Atan. We'll see if that results in a fastest second place finish.
Furkan Akar from the Turkish Anatolian Pars, Brandon Kim, USA Ice Eagle, Benji Nogradi, the Hungarian Falcon, Younghoon Ben Jung from the German Wolves, and Ong Leo, the Singaporean Gazelle, in our 9th preliminary heat of the men's 1,000 metres.
Position 4 and 5, take your time. Go to the start.
Strong off the start was the German, now just settle on the shoulder of the USA Eagle, Brandon Kim, who will move his way to the front early in this race. The Turkish Anatolian Par, Furkan Akar, just sitting in behind him as these athletes just control and use a bit of that early strategy. Have their race plan. Do they come in with a race plan, how they would like things to pan out individually, whether they know they're good at the front if they can hold on?
Absolutely, especially in these early rounds, there's usually a plan A, B, and C. As we get closer to the semifinal and the final rounds, at a certain point, everyone's good. You just go out and do your best. But especially right now, skaters know, hey, my endurance feels good today, or hey, my legs are tired today, and because of that, I want to be in the front, in the back. Akar saying, my legs are good, I want to go to the front. Big power move here, good defense by Ben Jung.
Kept it nice and tight, it was close between those two as Akar goes to the front and now getting 3 abreast. Just getting in a little bit of a tangle. It's allowed the Hungarian Radi to come through into second position. And he sits tucked in behind Akar. The USA Eagle in 4th place, Brandon Kim, starting to string out a little bit. Kim moves up into 3rd as they get the bell, and now the pressure, the heat really comes on Furkan Akar, the Turkish Anatolian Par, a little wobble from the Hungarian on that bend. The American goes down, and it is going to be Furkan Akar in the finish to take it.
A little bit of a late push there by Brandon Kim. Again, patience is the right thing to do, but sometimes you wait a little too long, you get under pressure, and something starts to feel a little forced. Especially, again, a Stanford student going through his finals week while he's here on the road, even taking time on the bus ride over this morning to work on his schoolwork so that he won't fall behind before Christmas break.
I wondered who I heard typing away in the bus this morning at about 7:30. Was it? Yeah, 7 o'clock this morning.
7 o'clock
Very early
bus.
doors, someone tapping away. I thought that was eager.
So again, just a little towing in there, which is not a common thing, but here we've seen it twice already today. It's just a sign of maybe a little bit of rushing, of your thoughts being two or three steps ahead of where your feet are. Sometimes you have to do that, it's good strategy, but sometimes it can take you out of the present moment and lead to those simpler mistakes.
Aka from Turkey with the big Q automatic qualifying spot. Nagari, the Hungarian Falcon. We'll keep eyes on the clock over the next couple of races, down to the penultimate of our preliminaries now. It is Jonas Berzen, the Latvian gold star, Bendig from Germany, Ivan Martinic, the Croatian Dalmatian, Shaw McAnuff, the Irish Wolfhound, and Klavia Jagal from India.
Jagal racing all three individual distances, so he's really not having much rest. We started racing at 9, it's what, 11:30, and it's 12 o'clock. He's been on the ice 3 times in 3 hours.
I was saying earlier, a tall skater, and I guess the example of a tall skater really achieving at the moment is William Dongenu, who's the Canadian ice maker. Was it about 1.90 m, which I think for North Americans, that's well over 6 foot, I'm sure. But the difference for a tall skater, how they are able to compress their body down, how difficult that is.
It is very difficult. So tall skaters have the advantage of, first of all, a long stride, but also a wide stride. So they cover more distance with each stroke, and they're hard to pass because they take up so much space. Whereas a smaller skater has the benefit of being able to tuck into small spaces and also a lower center of gravity. So it's a bit easier to manage the turns on one leg. The tall skaters can have that same benefit, but it takes more time in the weight room. They have to be stronger to absorb the forces going around the corner.
Just a little running repair on the track where that effectively a divot went in off the skate of Brandon Kim, as we're now ready for this penultimate of the men's 1,000 metre preliminaries. There's the Latvian skater, Linus Berzen, predominantly white uniform, the black legs, wearing helmet number 37, German Robin Mendig, sitting in 3rd position now, and already an early move from the Croatian Ivan Martinic.
I do anticipate that Berzins and Bendig will be the 2 skaters to kind of fight for it here, and here we go, we're seeing a pass to the front by both skaters. A good effort to defend by Martinic, and Martinic goes down.
Yeah, there's a little bit of contact too between Bendig and Berzins as well. Martinic has the skater gone down. Jagal, the Indian skater, sitting into 3rd position, as if to illustrate your point. Those two jostling for the front of position. Bendig, the German Wolf, and Berzin, the Latvian Gold Star.
And we do have a yellow dot on your screen. Officials already reviewing that pass in the officials' room.
They will check to see what did happen to Ivan Martinic, the Croatian Dalmatian, who's just skating around the outside at the moment. These athletes getting ready to take the bell, second to last lap, and it is the Latvian Berzins who's really extended that advantage, made a move to get away from Robin Bendig, the German Wolf, and should be able to hold on quite comfortably here, just easing his way around. Time not going to be an issue if you're the first across the line. Pulls up at the line and takes it well, did Berzin. Bendig is second, but we do have a video review of the incident earlier in the race, which saw Martinic go down.
And Berzins, when he went to the front, showing us all he has a 5th year here that the other skaters maybe just couldn't quite touch today. And Berzins, being an accomplished World Tour skater, I bet y'all he still has something in the tank. He'll impress us even more as the rounds go on today. Croatian skater Martinic in the front, and then here's the contact. Oh, and it seems like Martinic creating some contact with Bendig and McAnuff. We'll wait and see the official call. It's never fun to fall down, especially when you've been on skating on ice that's had so many other races on it. They pour water down in between every race. So at some point, if you're falling in the straight, the corner, whatever, you're probably sitting down in a puddle of water on the way down, which is, from experience, very uncomfortable. And then imagine how cold it is in this rink. All right, so we've got Bergen coming in from the outside. Croatia seeming to have a little twist going into the corner. I can't quite tell without seeing the straightaway before.
Just prior, I think he just
what?
got in a little tangle with the arms at the back and just got ever so slightly off balance to a relatively untrained eye. Just slightly tipped himself off balance.
So we could be looking for some contact from behind. We could be looking for some either inside out or outside in movement. We would need a different camera angle to confirm that. But the other thing is, it's a technical sport, and so sometimes if you're entering the corner or exiting the corner, your shoulders and hips should make a box. And if your box starts to twist around and become all these kind of weird different shapes, what happens, like the shoulders go right but the hips go left, and then the skater spins like a top. That can happen going into or out of the corner, and it's usually happening during a pass.
For this race, we have
No time.
Qualified for the next round.
Martinic.
No call, which means they just deemed it as a bit of a technical mistake and nothing to change the outcome of the race.
So that leaves us with the final 4 skaters in the preliminaries of the men's 1,000 metres. Turnboy from the Netherlands, the Dutch Lions, Shepal from Czechia Ice Spiders, Morozov, Ukrainian Wildcats, and Colin, the Croatian Dalmatian.
Go to the start.
Last to go in this, the 1,000 metres preliminary, the 11th of 11 preliminaries. There's been plenty of skating on this track. We've had the women's 1,000 metres as well, and at the moment it is Turnboy, the Dutch skater, the Dutch Lion, out the front at the moment. Here's the Croatian Dalmatian. Olenek tries to arch his way through. No way through the Czechia Ice Spider though.
By far and away the highest ranked skater in this race. I anticipate he'll stay in the front the whole time. He will want to maybe pick the speed up a little bit here, which we can see him doing. We're dropping down into the low 10s, high 9s, throwing some extra crossovers in on the corner exit.
Now having to put a little bit more effort in as there's a real jostle between Boer and Olenek, the Croatian. A couple of them go down, and behind them that's Sepal, the Czech, and Morozov from Ukraine. So just a 2-skater race now between Olenek and Turnboy, with the first to go through automatically. Boer sitting in, tucking in behind in second place. A little turn over the shoulder, trying to keep eyes on. Here's the Croatian Dalmatian, Olenek.
That's right. Boer will turn it on here in just a second. I haven't seen him swing an arm yet, whereas Kolinch is really working hard to stay in the lead. Here's the move by Boer up into first.
Looks very comfortable, doesn't he? Turnboy is easing arms behind the back and made that move with relative ease to comfortably get across in first position.
And that's something to watch for at home. If skaters are swinging an arm, that's a good indicator of high effort, especially if they're skating right next to a skater with 2 arms on their back. It kind of shows, hey, we're going the same speed, but one person's going at 90%, the other one's going at 70, 75. And so obviously with efficiency comes more energy at the end of the race. The Ice Spider Zapal very frustrated by that fall because, again, remember, if you're not in qualifying position, you are not eligible for an advancement. He's looking down between his legs, and he just gets stuck back on his heels here. Again, that whole idea of watch his shoulders, they cut inside his hips, and then his hips go out towards the pads, and he spins like a top. College really digging deep to finish in what he hopes will be and what is in one of those fastest second times with a 131.465.
Yeah, had to grit the teeth there towards the end, didn't he? Has turned on the pace and did it with comfort, but the small Q to Collinetz's name will be pleasing, as that will be enough to advance him through to the heats of the men's 1,000 metres as well, as we wrap up 11 preliminaries in that event. The first round of racing done. We're heading to a lunch break too, and then we get into some more quarterfinals and then the heats proper on this qualification day. There are the qualifiers for the men's, or from the men's preliminaries going through to the heats, the winners of each of those prelims, and the fastest time out of it was Ole Handai from the Ukraine. With Hayashi Kosei, the Japanese, Ninja Clayton, Di Clemente, and some good work as well. And then the small Qs all coming in behind them, qualifying through on their basis of their time as the second best. So that wraps up the first round of preliminaries here on day one of the short track World Tour event in Seoul. About an hour or so lunch break now, and then we will get into women's quarterfinal action in the 1500 metres.